law enforcement in Jacksonville/Duval County. And I know how to work toward making this city safe.
And we can't be shy about speaking on things such as faith and politics. We have to remember, in a free society, the public square belongs to all of us.
I'm not interested in North Florida looking like Orlando or Miami. I love where we live, but I think that good jobs means that people that live in this district can stay in this district.
Fishing and hunting is funding a large part of your conservation projects in Florida, and we want to make sure that those are forever preserved.
And the problem with this industry at this point is that they actually target our youth. You can see it in their marketing strategies where it's bright colors, fun names.
And that's going to be endlessly litigated.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? Now might be the perfect time to go on offense and seize the opportunities presented by the new pro-business environment ushered in by President Trump and his administration. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you. They create strategies designed to help manage taxes, control risks, and boost your financial confidence. It's a forward-thinking approach that can strengthen your foundation so you can enjoy the lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve. If you're ready to see how Alfie's team can help elevate your plan, call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and discover proactive strategies to help you thrive in an ever-changing world. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Let Alfie Townsend and the Advantage Retirement Group team guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
I've been dipping snuff for well over 30 years. You know, I could wake up in the morning and have a weird lump in my gums. Guess it's like playing Russian roulette, really. I would love grandchildren. And if by quitting it extends my life some, I would gladly lay it down.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
Today, push harder, push forward, push vigorously.
There are things that I am hiding from people that I'm trying to inspire.
You can do whatever you set your mind to.
I feel like a hypocrite a lot of the times.
Don't give up on yourself ever.
Smoking, I hide it because I'm ashamed of it. I want to get out of the shadow. I want to show people there is light away from the darkness. I am going to quit.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move. When being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
It's always a good day when you hear from TJ Meister from the Floor Meisters in Naples, 6281 Naples Boulevard, 239-596-4964. All right, let's see what's going on with TJ today. How are you, TJ?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Only, no. That
on the radio.
Thanks, TJ. Appreciate it. All right, Floor Meisters, what do we got going on?
Well, we're just keeping up with the demand for Cortec. Just had to order a truck and bring it in from the West Coast of the United States to keep up with all the needs and wants of the people of Southwest Florida. Somebody doesn't have it, give me a call. I probably do.
Why do people love Cortec so much?
Well, it's waterproof, kid-proof, pet-proof. So if you got a pool, no problem. If you got a dog, no problem. If you got a husband that spills, no problem.
You got to call the Floor Meisters in Naples. What do you need? Tile, carpet, Cortec, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, 596-4964. Give them a call, 596-4964 for the Floor Meisters.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand?
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Thank you for waking us all up out here. For all you do.
Thank you for giving us a voice.
For being out there helping to keep the constitutional republic.
I want to thank you for
your support for veterans in the military.
Educating us.
Standing up for conservatism.
Giving us the truth.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Well, hey, everybody. So glad you're joining us today on Florida's Voice. My name is Drew Steele. Big D's on the other side of the glass. You got Nina over there in the breaking newsroom, and you hanging out with us at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. Boy, where do you want to start today? First of all, Monday-luya to you. So we start the week off. Hey, Big D, that's a new one, a Monday-luya. So, like, we start off the week, and we call it Monday-luya. Like, we're super excited about entering into a brand new week. How about that?
Are we allowed to be as excited as a Friday-luya, though?
Well, let's put it this way. Typically, the average human being on a Monday is like, I'm not really super excited about anything. I'm just like,
I got something to do. I got to go do boom, boom, boom.
You feel like that, right? You feel like, But this is not a typical Monday. Big D, is this a typical Monday after everything that took place late last night and then leading into some of the stories today? Do you think that it's a little extra special today with some of the news maybe kicking off a Monday here?
Extra special is fair. I wouldn't quite put it up as where Friday-luya is.
Okay,
definitely a special Monday.
All right, that's fair. So it's not a Monday-luya. We can't do that. Let's keep the Friday-luya. So we're moving on. So why is everybody so excited today? Well, a lot of different reasons. First of all, let me just get to this right out of the gate. Don't worry, we got a lot to talk about. Governor DeSantis had a lot of things to say today, including his thoughts on Congressman Byron Donalds and the full endorsement from Trump if he were to run for governor, and his thoughts on that. Interesting stuff. And then some talk about Casey DeSantis, First Lady here in the state, and what about that? Her possibly, maybe even making a run for, all of the buzz that's out there. We'll get to some of that coming up, plus the elimination of property taxes and some other things that are going on here in the state. It's very national news story-esque almost. It's almost as if we are doing a lot of things here that are being discussed on a national level. It's an interesting dynamic going on. But let me get to this. So yesterday, my inbox gets flooded last night with the news that President Trump announced that Dan Bongino is going to be the deputy director of the FBI. And I could not have been more excited upon hearing that news for a lot of different reasons. Number one, because a little inside Drew Steele baseball, Dan's a friend, and so somebody I've known for over a decade. And I got to tell you, just someone who is amazing on a lot of levels, but on this level, it's going to be incredible. Now, why would you be so excited? You think about a deputy director, right? So you're thinking, well, what's the big deal? Obviously, a lot of people talked about Dan being part of Secret Service, when Trump was first elected, and there was a lot of buzz about that, and even before that there was a possibility. But this one's so important on a couple of different levels, and let me explain. First of all, one of the most important things that you have to have right now in the environment that we are in politically, the most important thing you have to have is loyalty. And for you Florida Democrats out there, all you crazy lefties, loyalty doesn't mean, hey, you're going to break the Constitution? You're going to go against the Constitution? You jump off a cliff. No, that's not what we're talking about here, okay? I know you all get yourself crazy about that. Like, that's right, somebody's loyal to Trump, and Trump's going to be breaking the... Oh, shush it. As my mom used to say. Okay. Here's the thing. Loyalty in that you understand the job that needs to be done. You are the director of the FBI now. You are Director Kash Patel. You need to have people around you that not only are going to zip it and not say anything and release information and, the kind of secrets that get out. When you would always say things like, I don't understand. Why is it that every time you have a Republican who's president of the United States, every single time there's a Republican, it feels like every news story gets broken. There's somebody who's not whistleblowing, but there's somebody who's releasing information, leaking information. Why is it that there's always leaks and leaks of information when there's a Republican in office, but when there's a Democrat in office, it's like you don't hear a peep, you hear nothing? Obama's in office for 8 years, and you didn't hear a whole lot of anything out of Obama. Or anybody around him. No, nobody, not Obama himself. Okay, I'm not talking about him, but I'm talking about the people around. You never heard about any leaks, right? There was never a leak in the Biden administration. You never heard the leaks. And then all of a sudden, Trump's in office, or there's another Republican in office in the past, and all of a sudden, there's leak after leak after leak. You can't have that, right? Things have to be buttoned up. You've got to make sure that the people around you are loyal to what it is that you are trying to do, and that loyalty is important in that you're loyal to the Constitution and the country and you. Not to a person, but to you, to the Constitution, to this country. And that means that you've got to make sure that you trust the people around you. And so when Director Patel brings Dan Bongino into the conversation, and now he is the deputy director, the first thing you think about is, yes, you want people around you that you trust, loyal to the Constitution, to the oath of the office and the nation. You've got to have that. And better it be people that you know are, and that you know personally, that are going to make sure that we get to the bottom of a lot of the dirt and the nasty and the muck. What else would we say, Big D? Dirty, nasty muck. You think that's enough as far as the kind of dirty, nasty stuff that happens in D.C.?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, the swamp, dirty, nasty muck.
Swampy.
This is the swampy stuff. Right, exactly. You got to let's get a hold of the swampy stuff. So what does that look like? Well, it sounds like this. And this is one of the things that I really, really appreciate about Dan Bongino, have for a long time. Not just the work that he does in investigating and being able to find out things about the swamp and being investigatory in it, in that he, because of his history as a New York City cop and then, of course, the Secret Service and the like, because he has that experience in investigating, he's been able to find out things throughout the years that other people maybe just touched on, got to it, walked away from it and said, all right, I found out this information, but at the end of the day, it's a new day. Hold on. Let me just play this audio from Dan Bongino from the other day. And I want to say this was this Friday? I don't know, but I want you to listen to this, and I'll explain why I'm playing this in just a second. Here, check this out.
I know it's a story that's old and a lot of people want to move on. I'm going to be straight with you. I don't want to move on. We had the FBI, in conjunction with the Department of Justice, officials in Congress, foreign governments, and intel people, fabricate a story, invent a story that could have caused and done serious long-term harm to international relations with a nuclear-powered foe. It's kind of a big freaking deal.
Yes, let me just stop right there. I have been screaming from the rooftops for years. And Big D knows this, and he's known me for a while, and he knows the kind of screaming that I do. Not really screaming, but the emphasis on, I hate when a politician, let's say we find out that they have done something nefarious. Let's say they have done something that you can pinpoint and say, hey, I think they broke the law. I think they should end up in prison. And you go through this process of discovering all these different things and questions about whether or not it should be referred to the DOJ or some kind of investigation, and you go through the motion, and then all of a sudden, it's during an election season, and then all of a sudden that person loses the election, and everybody's like, oh, okay, never mind. But never mind what? Oh, yeah, well, no, it's okay. It's okay because that person didn't win the election. What are you talking about? Well, Hillary Clinton, I mean, it's okay, right? She's not the president of the United States, so aren't we feeling good about that? I mean...
Every time I think about Trump, I get allergic.
Exactly. I mean, what's the big deal? All right, let her cough, let her be allergic. It's fine. She's gone, right? No. No, I don't like that. And to Dan's point there on Friday, and he talked a little bit more about it, but let me just sum it up here. We're not going to let this go. I'm not going to let it go. He's not going to let it go. And I really feel confident that as he is there as the deputy director in the FBI, along with Director Kash Patel, that they are going to go back to the stories that you're just like, oh, are we doing this again? Yes, we're doing this again. You know why? Because we need to find out.
I'm not letting it go.
Good.
And you listen to me. This is going to be very important in the coming days. I'm not letting this go.
Listen to him.
I want to find out what happened because it can never happen again. Not to a Democrat, not to a Republican, not to a Libertarian, not to any United States citizen. You do not get to alter or try to change the course of electoral politics by fabricating a story, hijacking the justice system then to give the patina of truth to a fake story. You don't get to do that. Why do I bring that up now? Because who is the ringmaster of that circus? Yes, Adam Schiff.
I know Adam Schiff.
Got the smallest, thinnest neck I've ever seen.
That guy. Okay, we're going to move on in just a second, but I don't want you to miss this. Don't miss this. It's so important. And this is for you Florida lefties out there as well. And across the country. Listen, I know a lot of people not only listen here in the state of Florida. Thank you so much. On all of our affiliates across the state. Thank you. On social media at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble X, and Facebook, but across the globe. Okay. Don't miss this. All you lefties out there. Exactly what he was talking about.
Not to a Democrat, not to a Republican, not to a Libertarian.
Nobody. You can't have alphabet bureaucracies weaponized against political opponents and get away with it. Democrats, Republicans, independents. It doesn't matter who you are. This has to stop. And the only way it stops is if you get caught, busted, found guilty. The evidence is out there and something has to happen. You can't just walk away from this. We can't be like, oh, the person didn't win the election, so let's forget about it. Make it go away. No. You don't make it go away. Because then it keeps happening. Big D, am I crazy? Does that make sense to you? There has to be punishment even for things that have happened.
Hillary Clinton is the perfect example of this.
Yes. How many times do we have to do this? How many times do we have to dismiss it because said person is no longer in office or isn't running? No, it doesn't work that way. And to Dan's point, and this is why I'm so excited, because people have to be held accountable so that it doesn't happen again to anybody, anyone, nobody. And so I believe that we're going to get things done. And I've talked about it before on this program too, is the transparency issue, right? Rip it off, rip the Band-Aid off. Let's go. I want all the information. I want to know about everything, top to bottom. Doesn't matter. Yeah, but if you find, it doesn't matter. Yeah, but what if it doesn't matter? But what if, I don't know, maybe that was, the last one was a little exaggerated. But we're not doing that. All right. What else do we have going on here on Florida's Voice? Hit me. So, a lot of talk about what we are going to be doing here in the state of Florida. A lot of talk about what we might do with regard to the future of taxes in the state. You know, hey, listen, on a national level, we're talking about getting rid of income taxes. How nice would that be? Going back to a time before the Internal Revenue Service existed. And I know for you lefties out there, yes, believe it or not, there was a time before that. What do you mean the Internal Revenue Service hasn't been around since day? No, it hasn't been around since day one. And we survived? Yeah, we did. And as a matter of fact, we did really well. with tariffs. No income tax, no internal revenue service, but an external revenue service, as the president has talked about, where you tariff other countries, and that's how you bring money into the treasury. See, that's how you do it. We used to do it like that all the time. And also, the transparency of Doge. Why is it that you lefties don't want to know about some of what we have been able to discover through Doge and Elon Musk? It's pretty popular, as a matter of fact. Polls are showing that Doge is overwhelmingly popular. I mean, when you're talking about reducing things, the spending that's there in D.C. by $1 trillion plus, people like that, especially if they think that maybe some of that might be coming back to them because it's our money. Funny thing how that works. And how, you know, when you look at what's going on federally, how are we doing in the state? Well, there's been discussions about not just tripling the exemption on property taxes. We're going to get to that in just a second. But also maybe our own Doge here, the governor of the state of Florida, the great governor Ron DeSantis, was talking about this earlier today.
So today, I'm pleased to announce that we are launching a comprehensive initiative to continue to streamline our government and to continue to eliminate unnecessary bureaucracy and to continue to ensure tax dollars are used in the most efficient way possible.
Yeah. Now, if you're a big lefty here in the state of Florida, you're probably thinking, no, I like it wasted. Apparently, because you're going to be fighting against anything that the governor does, or the legislature does, or Republicans do, or Trumps do. Trumps do. Big D, I just said Trumps do. That's
yeah, their whole family is working towards it.
Yeah, that's it. So I know you get upset about that, which is a weird thing because apparently you've got more money than you know what to do with. And it's like, yeah, I don't care if my tax dollars get wasted. Okay, great. But for the rest of us,
we are creating a state Doge task force that will implement a multi-pronged approach to eliminating bureaucratic bloat and modernizing our state government to best serve the people of Florida in the years ahead. This will be a one just similar to the federal Doge. It's going to be a limited amount of time. It'll be a one-year term. It will sunset following the completion of the mission.
All right. Well, there you go. The mission. Let's find out what's going on. If there's money being wasted, let's find out about some other things that the governor talked about. We'll play in just a second. But what is it with you and bureaucratic? It's hard to say. Big D, can you say bureaucratic bloat 5 times fast?
Bureaucratic bloat. I don't want to attempt the 5 times.
I know. It's hard to say it once. And the governor did it like it was nothing. So give him credit. Bureaucratic bloat. Wow, that's hard. Why is that? Why is it so difficult to say bureaucratic bloat? Try it one more time.
Bureaucratic bloat.
Say it twice, fast.
Bureaucratic bloat. Bureaucratic. Nope.
See, you can't do it. Just can't do it.
Time to mute me.
It's not just. It's not just you. It's me. What is it about you Florida lefties that like the idea of bloat? Being bloated. What else did he say?
Now, we've already been looking at things that we can do leading into this upcoming legislative session, and we've already earmarked over 70 state boards and commission for abolishment and to sunset them. This will restore power and accountability to Floridians. I mean, I get all these boards, and we have gotten rid of some, and then we get appointments to all this different stuff. And I'm like, well, why can't we just do that through the agency? Do we even need this? And so we've asked these questions.
All right, so he's asking the questions. Is there something else that we can do besides this? And I think those are good questions to ask. So there's the governor today who was like, hey, listen, we're going to set up our own Doge. We're going to be doing this ourselves. And it's time that we started to look into some of the bureaucratic waste that could possibly be here in the state. And you've got a couple of different lawmakers who are bringing up some bills aimed at cutting this waste as well, cutting the red tape, and why not eliminate outdated regulations and some other things that are going on. And look, it's usually Florida out lately, especially. It's usually like we take the lead, other states are looking at us, or we take the lead and nationally maybe something happens. So maybe now we look on the outside in. And it's like, hey, using AI and to see what's going on there. Right? Business is changing at a rapid pace, whether we're talking about innovation or AI or the way that we do business is changing. So the goal of this legislation is to make sure that government is efficiently or effectively changing alongside the business community. This is two different lawmakers, Representative Tiffany Esposito filing a House bill, Senator Danny Burgess filing a Senate bill, and cutting bureaucratic waste and reducing unchecked government overreach, strengthening Florida's business climate. So it sounds to me like you've got the governor who is putting out some ideas on this, and you got the legislature who's looking to legislate on this. That sounds like a winning combination. That almost sounds like the winning combination that seems to have been in place for years now between the governor and the legislature. I like that. So we keep that going. And to see that it's happening on the federal level and then it comes to the state is something a little different. Usually, like we said, we lead and then others follow. But if that's the case, and I might say this one more time, and I know for some people it gets them upset, so I like to say it twice. Is that a big deal? Is that a bad thing? Is it bad that I say something and I know it upsets people because I see some of the messages that come through, and I'm like, I should probably say it again because.
As long as we know it's a joke, then yeah, we can say it again.
No, it's not necessarily a joke. I'm being serious now. So
we're joking around, but we know it's serious.
Yeah, but it's right. We're joking, but we're serious, and it's this. It's almost as if, because I said this before. I said that I really truly believe that a lot of what is happening on a federal level. How do I say this the right way? I'll just say it and then we'll parse through the words later. Or you guys can parse through it. Or anyway. It feels sometimes to me like a lot of the things that are happening federally that Donald Trump is doing as president of the United States, no one would have done. Nobody would have put DOGE together. No other Republican who was running for president. I'm sorry, it's just the truth. No other Republican running for president would have put a DOGE together. Nobody would have ripped the Band-Aid off in a lot of different ways with some of the discussions that we have had, the talk of tariffs and all of these other things. It just wouldn't have happened. I just don't believe it was anybody else's MO. And so the good news should be about that aspect of it. And that's okay. That's fine to say that. But the good part about it is this is how it should work. If the state of Florida is doing amazing things, and typically we do, and other states want to grab onto it and bring it into their state, or at a federal level, there are some thoughts about what we do here at a state level, and it's like, hey, we should examine this. That's fantastic. If it goes the other way, that's good too. If this is a new way of doing things that Donald Trump introduced with Elon Musk as far as the AI use and looking through some of what the governor described here in the state and some of the things that we can do to streamline quicker, easier, better, faster, stronger. I don't know, $6 million man-esque. Somebody will get the cultural reference. Now let's go. Doesn't matter who gets the credit. Just got to get it done. All right. Let's find out what's going on in the Florida's Voice newsroom coming up next. Top of the news coming up.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA. It is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families. And one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and you probably know this. I've had a music career, an EMI published songwriter in the past. I've had a top 20 Billboard hit and movie soundtracks. But I got my start right here in Southwest Florida at Soundcheck Studios with Jim Becker. I worked with Jim when he was producing big names like Castrol and Beck's Beer and other commercial clients from ABC, NBC, CBS. He's done it all. It doesn't make a difference what your musical style is if you're talking about recording for bands or
producing, music, jingles. He does it all at Soundcheck Studios. Recently, he worked with RCA artist Doja Cat and also a Sony artist Flipped an Arrow. A lot of great artists have made their way through Soundcheck Studios. So if you want to make your brand memorable with a jingle or maybe a commercial you want to cut, or maybe it's a band, give Soundcheck Studios a call today. 239-340-0515. That's 239-340-0515 for Soundcheck Studios.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
Hey, you got this. Just breathe. Hey. We're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Radical anti-hunting forces are working to ban fishing and hunting across the country. These extreme attacks on our heritage must be met. Thankfully, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting back as the nation's premier organization defending our rights to fish and hunt. This April, you can step into the arena with us and join our fight in Naples, Florida. Join us at the historic Ritz-Carlton Tiburon and hear from world-class speakers including Tucker Carlson. The annual event is the best place for conservationists, anglers, hunters, and all those who want to protect the outdoors to come together, build strategies to protect our rights, and expand opportunities in the future for generations to come. Visit IOTR.org to learn more about our organization and to sign up to see Tucker in April. Visit IOTR.org to learn more about our organization and to sign up to see Tucker in April. You don't want to miss this event.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. And in our family, we're used to getting involved, and I encourage you to do the same, especially when it comes to caring for your loved ones. When I think about Alzheimer's and the impact it had on my family, I recognize that losing a race isn't such a bad day after all. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? It's time to shift gears and seize the fresh opportunities this new pro-business environment has to offer. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and the team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you, helping you go on the offense with advanced tax strategies, thoughtful risk management, and forward-thinking financial planning. Imagine enjoying the retirement lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve, all while staying one step ahead, and in a changing world, you've got to do it. Alfie and his team design personalized strategies to strengthen your financial foundation so you can focus on living life on your terms. Ready to find out more? Text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, you can call or text 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and see how a proactive approach can help you thrive no matter what the market does next. Don't wait. Call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470 right now.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
All right, anytime you want to watch it, FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. Coming up in a couple of minutes, Congresswoman Kat Kamak can talk about the REINS Act. You're like, I don't know what that is. Well, you're about to find out. So that's coming up in just a second. But first, let's find out what's going on in the Florida's Voice newsroom. We call this Top of the News.
Top of the News, Florida's headlines now.
Michelle Vesserina's got the latest, I believe. That's right, there she is. All right, from the Florida's Voice newsroom. What's up?
Hey, Drew.
Hey.
There's an effort to triple your property tax exemptions in Tallahassee. And if you are driving, keep your eye out for some cool Gulf of America billboards that just went up. But first, keeping Florida financially efficient. Governor Ron DeSantis announced today that he wants a task force to do for Florida what DOGE is doing for Washington. Everyone has heard of DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. Well, that's what Elon Musk is doing in Washington, evaluating the spending of taxpayers' money in the federal government. Now DeSantis wants to do that here in Florida. He is calling for a Florida DOGE task force that would use artificial intelligence to spearhead audits in the state. He said he'll work with the state lawmakers to eliminate bureaucratic bloat and modernize state government to serve Floridians for years ahead. Speaking of saving you money, a Republican lawmaker wants to triple your property tax exemptions from $25,000 to $75,000. Senator Blaise Ingoglia wants you to vote on this proposal, but it would be a huge savings for property owners. This is a joint resolution proposal and would bring some much-needed financial relief to Floridians. Right now, it is just a proposed bill, but if both chambers of the state legislature pass it, it would be put on a ballot and you would vote on it. It would then need at least 60% voter approval for it to become part of the state constitution, and then it would take effect January 1st of 2027. Florida travelers near the West Coast are being welcomed by a series of electronic billboards saying, "Welcome to the Gulf of America." The Republican Party of Florida put up the signs, placing them strategically along highways and roads near the Gulf and the Florida Panhandle. They are pretty eye-catching, too, with bright red letters and blue skies and a blue ocean. Just remember to keep your eyes on the road if you are driving and listening to this report. Okay, well, that's all for now. I'll be back at 4:35 with another story that is on the radar for anyone who pays property taxes. I'll tell you what the governor just said today about eliminating property taxes in the future. I'm Michelle Vesserina with Florida's Voice. Drew, back over to you.
All right, Michelle, we appreciate you there in the Florida's Voice newsroom. And don't forget, anytime you want to check out the stories that Michelle is talking about today, or any day during the week, you can go to flvoicenews.com, Florida's Voice, and check it out right there on the website. I love this. That's right. So there's a bill. So the Republican Party of Florida, headed by Evan Power, been on this program many times, putting up the electronic signs that say that if you're visiting the beach in the Panhandle, you may be welcomed by one of these Florida GOP billboards. Welcome to the Gulf of America. And that's what it says. Welcome to the Gulf of America. It's got what looks, I guess it's an elephant, right? GOP elephant. They're lounging on a beach chair at the beach. Very nice. Soaking up the sun in a beach chair. All right. So, we are the first state in the United States to officially follow Trump's order renaming what was the Gulf of Mexico and is now the Gulf of America. And that was back on January 20th. So good stuff, and yep, you gotta love what's going on there. All right, in a couple of more minutes, we're just waiting for Representative Kat Kamak to join us here on Florida's Voice in just a minute. So wanted to ask her about the REINS Act, and it is one of those things that people assume is happening, but it is a very important issue. So we'll get to that in just a second. Also, some other things that we're following right now on Florida's Voice. It was Nina in the breaking newsroom who earlier was mentioning that Macron was trending on social media. I was like, I wonder why. Well, of course, because he was visiting with President Trump today at the White House, and Macron and Trump had a couple of interesting things to say. There was a moment first where there was like a little bit of laughter in the room as the president was telling a story about Macron and speaking French without an interpreter.
I just want to tell you a little story. So we were at the Eiffel Tower having dinner with your wonderful wife and with my wonderful wife, and we came out and he started speaking the French deal. And we didn't have an interpreter, and he was going on and on and on, and I was just nodding, yes, yes, yes. And he really sold me out, because I got back the next day and I read the papers. I said, that's not what we said. He's a smart customer, I will tell you that.
He's a smart... So there he is. He's speaking French to all of these different people. No interpreter around. Wasn't sure what was being said. And then the papers come out and it's like, wait a minute, I didn't say that. That's not what we talked about. And a smart customer, as the president put it. But there was some, I don't know if it was uncomfortable moments. Let's just say interesting moments that took place between the two of them earlier today, and some of what was being said. And in a couple of minutes, I wanted to play some of that audio because I thought, well, that's interesting that the president and Emmanuel Macron from France were talking about Ukraine, and it seemed as if the stories that they are telling got crossed. And maybe one was exaggerating a little bit. Let me see if I can play some of this audio, because they were talking about Ukraine, and I guess a reporter brought up about loaning money, I guess money from Ukraine. And well, here, listen here.
Will France support the U.S. being compensated?
Yeah, that's it. So will France back the U.S. being compensated? You know, the idea of compensation, the talk of how we can be compensated, the use of minerals there in Ukraine and other ways to do this. And
I support the idea to have Ukraine first being compensated, because they are the one to have lose a lot of their fellow citizens and being destroyed by these attacks. Second, all of those who paid for could be compensated, but not by Ukraine, by Russia, because they were the one to aggress.
Again, just so you understand, Europe is loaning the money to Ukraine. They get their money back.
Now, hold on a second, okay? So they get their money back, right? Ukraine, or Europe is loaning the money. They get their money back. So Macron says what? Wait. No, it's right there. Yeah. So what does he say after that?
No, in fact, to be frank, we paid 60% of the total efforts, and it was through, like the U.S., loans, guarantee, grants, and we provided real money, to be clear. Okay. We have 230 billion frozen assets in Europe, Russian assets, but this is not as a collateral of a loan, because this is not our belonging. So they are frozen. If at the end of the day, in the negotiation we will have with Russia, they're ready to give it to us, super. It will be loan at the end of the day, and Russia would have paid for that.
Okay. So he's saying Europe's loaning the money. So the president said, look, Europe's loaning the money to Ukraine. They're going to get their money back. And Macron is like, no. To be frank, we pay 60% of the total effort. Like the U.S., loans, guarantees, grants, right? So what does the president say about that?
If you believe that, it's okay with me. But they get their money back, we don't, and now we do. But, that's only fair.
Wow. So the president says, if you believe that, it's okay with me, but they get their money back and we don't. But now we do, with these negotiations and what they are talking about. And this is the kind of thing, again, this kind of talk doesn't typically happen. And I hate to bring it back to what I talked about earlier, but it's such an important point. I promise you that what you're hearing, the kind of talk, Trump, blunt talk to world leaders in front of the press there at the White House, doesn't happen with anybody else. Everybody else, any other politician, anybody who would be president of the United States other than Trump, if it were going to be anybody else, and let's be happy that it's Trump. If it were to be anybody else, the fact of the matter is that they wouldn't do this. They would say, no, these are the kind of things we have to keep behind closed doors. These are the kind of conversations, you know, we'll do a little bit of nicey nice here and there. The press will ask a question. We'll be nice in front of the cameras, and behind the scenes, you know, this is the kind of conversation. And Trump's like, no, we can have these conversations now. We can be open and blunt and honest. Who else is going to do that? And good for him for doing that. And how important that is. Because make no mistake about it, you can't keep doing things, especially diplomacy, the way it's been done. Those days are over. A lot of things that are happening right now at the federal level, those days are over. The things that were happening before, we're not doing that anymore. You know, like with Doge and transparency. It's so important we do that these days. All right. I believe we are ready right now. All right, here we have Congresswoman Kat Cammack joining us today on Florida's Voice. I wanted to talk to her about the REINS Act. This is something really important. First of all, it's great to see you again. How are you?
We are doing great. You caught right as the vote bell started ringing.
Oh, I did. Okay. That's just my luck. It's my timing.
Yeah, that's all right. We've got time.
So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the REINS Act in case people don't know, because maybe a lot of people don't.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things that it's probably the least sexiest topic to discuss, regulatory reform, but it is one of the most, if not the most important thing that we could do now that we have the House, the Senate, and the White House. Because when people think about draining the swamp, they always think, okay, well, we need to cut. And absolutely, but those are one-time cuts. You want to make lasting, sustained change in Washington, you have to take back the power from the unelected swamp creatures, the bureaucrats, and put it back into the hands of the people's representatives. So the REINS Act is very simple. It's an elegant bill. I know I'm a little biased, but what it does is it says that any major rule or regulation, which means $100 million or more to industry, has to come back to Congress for an up or down vote before it can be implemented. You're probably thinking, well, why the hell is that important? Well, think about this. $2 trillion a year is what we, the taxpayers, spend on enforcement and compliance of rules and regulations. Wow. $2 trillion. And most of those we never had a shot at weighing in on. And you look at the Biden EV mandate, that was a major rule. You look at the gas stoves, all the appliance regulations, the racist highways, the WOTUS rules. These have major consequences to our everyday life, and they drive innovation out. They push entire industries under, and typically it's all done with a political slant. So the most consequential thing that I think President Trump could do to really give us a shot at another 250 years, to make the golden age really last, would be to take on the regulatory regime. So I always say, empower the people, drain the swamp, pass the REINS Act.
Yeah, no, that sounds fantastic. And I've talked to, I don't have a whole lot of time because we're up against a hard break in just a second, but I know that in the past I've talked to Senator Mike Lee, who's always talked about the importance of, we've got to bring it back to our representatives. How did we give this up? How did you all get, right? It's not you personally, but like how you gave that up, or how we as a country gave that up, right? It's crazy.
Exactly. And Mike has been a fabulous champion of this. You know, Senator Rand Paul and we co-lead this. I lead it in the House. He leads it in the Senate. But I don't think I have seen anyone more jazzed about the REINS Act than Senator Mike Lee. He and I talk almost every day, figuring out strategies and ways that we can get it implemented. And so it has been a battle. We've passed it in the House a couple times, but it always dies a sad death in the Senate. Right. So we have some really good opportunities here in the next few months under a couple of different avenues. So this really is about putting the power back in the people's hands, making Congress accountable. And this is crazy because when you talk to the left, they say, oh, well, that means we'll actually have to work. I'm sorry. Isn't that what you collect a paycheck for? My God. So yeah, it's something that is long overdue. And I love when they say, well, not only will this make us work more, but we don't have the expertise. I'm like,
yeah. Crazy.
Oh, Lord, bless their hearts, as we would say.
Yeah. All right, Congresswoman, listen, hard break. We got to run. Always great to see you. Looking forward to the next time we can visit, okay? All the best. God bless.
Absolutely. Have a good one. Go Gators.
See you. Okay. We'll be right back. It's Florida's Voice.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Babes,
What are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I like a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council. Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, if you're looking to take advantage of today's pro-business environment and strengthen your financial future, certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group have got you covered. They specialize in advanced tax strategies, risk management, and retirement planning, all aimed at helping high net worth investors like you thrive. Now, Alfie wants to share those insights with you with his book, Keeping You on the Retirement Fairway. It's packed with practical tips and forward-thinking strategies to help you make the most out of your hard-earned wealth. Ready to get your free copy? Text BOOK to 239-747-7470. That's 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Learn how to capitalize on that pro-business opportunities that are out there right now and secure the confident retirement you deserve. Once again, text BOOK to 239-747-7470 right now, and let Alfie Townsend and Advantage Retirement Group help guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Well, I saw on our local Facebook page here for Ave Maria that someone had made a post about the alligator with the football stuck in his mouth. So I came over here. I thought perhaps I might have a little plan. If I could get close enough to it, I might be able to pop the football with a knife, deflate it, so the gator could then just spit it out and move on. But I tried to get close to him, and he just wouldn't let me anywhere close to him. So I told the wife about the plan, and she hated it.
Yeah, I don't like it either. So, and weird how the alligator sees a human being walking up with a knife and doesn't want any part of it. So Big D, in case you were wondering what that was, that's a gentleman in Ave Maria in Collier County in the great state of Florida, who saw an alligator with a football in his mouth. Did you hear about this story? The alligator with the football.
I have not.
Yeah. So he sees the alligator, the football in his mouth, and he's got a great idea, or maybe a crazy idea. Why not walk up to it with a knife and just kind of jab it, so deflate it, and then he'll just spit it out. It didn't work out that way. Couldn't get near it, but got a lot of pictures, and I'm looking at it right now. And it's a giant alligator with a football in its mouth. Now, apparently, the story ends happily because the alligator, I guess, spit it out, and there was like a chewed up football near the waterway. So, funny thing about those alligators, they got sharp teeth. They can kind of deflate it on their.
Say.
Yeah.
I might have attempted that with a 20-foot spear, not a knife.
A 20-foot spear? Like, okay.
I'm not getting as close for a knife to stab the football.
Yeah, no. And you feel bad because you know, you're looking at the alligator and you're like, that's not even real leather. It's not going to taste good at all. It's not a good thing. So, yeah. But it all ended well. And listen, a good lesson for the kids out there. Kids, don't play football. Just stay away from the sport altogether. Don't even do it. It's like the same team wins over and over. Oh, wait, they didn't win over and over again this year. Oh, that's right. So Tay-Tay's not happy. But anyway, yeah, so I guess you can start to play football now. Big D, does that mean that now because that team that one young lady follows didn't win the big game, that we can now encourage
the team in which we do not speak of?
Right, the one that shall not be named. Does that mean that now, because that happened, that we can now encourage people to watch football again? Is that have the kids back? Again?
I think that's fair to say, until they're around for next season, and then we have to do this whole thing over again.
Oh, what are you suggesting? Are you suggesting that yeah, I guess we're going to... unless, I don't know the whole story. Maybe you can tell me. Unless the Kelsey dude, is he retiring? Do we know? Is he just hinting at it? Is it like one of those things?
I hope he does.
Okay, well, that's not very kind. Now, why would you say that? Because you're tired of them winning, or you're tired of seeing her? Both?
I'm tired of seeing them winning. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
He's amazing. I respect his talent. I just don't like what him and Taylor Swift bring to the NFL.
Yeah, I got it. Okay. And listen, for those that are listening to this conversation for the past 2.5 minutes and thinking, boy, I can't get this. I'm not going to get this 2.5 minutes in my life back, am I? No, you're not. And you're like, I don't even know what you guys are talking about. Don't worry. We're up against the break, so we're moving on anyway. So you don't even have to sweat it. We'll talk about something else. Coming up in just a little bit, why don't we get to this? There have been some interesting hirings, and there have been some really interesting firings lately. One in particular, the President of the United States decided to comment about, went on to Truth Social yesterday, and it's kind of a big deal. It seems like the television dominoes are starting to fall or drop or whatever they do. I mean, technically they drop, but it's really more about falling. But the dominoes are doing what they do. And we'll explain that coming up. Hey, anytime you want to call, if you would like to, 866-588-8303. We are live Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. right here.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way. My kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org.
All right, coming up, property taxes. Nobody really loves them. What if we got rid of them here in the state? Hey, what if there was a way to triple the exemption on your property tax? Huh. Maybe we'll talk about that coming up. My name is Drew Steele, and this is Florida's Voice.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. Florida's Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Congratulations on your show.
Congratulations on your new show. Big deal, huh?
That's why shows like yours are so important.
We have an independent county elected sheriff that's the head of law enforcement in Jacksonville/Duval County. And I know how to work toward making this city safe.
We can't be shy about speaking on things such as faith and politics. We have to remember, in a free society, the public square belongs to all of us.
I'm not interested in North Florida looking like Orlando or Miami. I love where we live, but I think that good jobs means that people that live in this district can stay in this district.
Fishing and hunting is funding a large part of your conservation projects in Florida, and we want to make sure that those are forever preserved.
And the problem with this industry at this point is that they actually target our youth. You can see it in their marketing strategies where it's bright colors, fun names.
And that's going to be endlessly litigated.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? Now might be the perfect time to go on offense and seize the opportunities presented by the new pro-business environment ushered in by President Trump and his administration. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you. They create strategies designed to help manage taxes, control risks, and boost your financial confidence. It's a forward-thinking approach that can strengthen your foundation so you can enjoy the lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve. If you're ready to see how Alfie's team can help elevate your plan, call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and discover proactive strategies to help you thrive in an ever-changing world. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Let Alfie Townsend and the Advantage Retirement Group team guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
I've been dipping snuff for well over 30 years. You know, I could wake up in the morning and have a weird lump in my gums. Guess it's like playing Russian roulette, really. I would love grandchildren. And if by quitting it extends my life some, I would gladly lay it down.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
Today, push harder, push forward, push vigorously.
There are things that I am hiding from people that I'm trying to inspire.
You can do whatever you set your mind to.
I feel like a hypocrite a lot of the times.
Don't give up on yourself ever.
Smoking, I hide it because I'm ashamed of it. I want to get out of the shadow. I want to show people there is light away from the darkness. I am going to quit.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
It's always a good day when you hear from TJ Meister from the Floor Meisters in Naples, 6281 Naples Boulevard, 239-596-4964. All right, let's see what's going on with TJ today. How are you, TJ?
I'm doing well, thank you, Drew. It's good to hear you on the radio.
Thanks, TJ. Appreciate it. All right, Floor Meisters, what do we got going on?
Well, we're just keeping up with the demand for Core-Tech. Just had to order a truck and bring it in from the west coast of the United States to keep up with all the needs and wants of the people of Southwest Florida. Somebody doesn't have it, give me a call. I probably do.
Why do people love Core-Tech so much?
Well, it's waterproof, kid-proof, pet-proof. So if you got a pool, no problem. If you got a dog, no problem. If you got a husband that spills, no problem.
You got to call the Floormeisters in Naples. What do you need? Tile, carpet, Cortec, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, 596-4964. Give them a call, 596-4964 for the Floormeisters.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Thank you for waking us all up out here. For all you do.
Thank you for giving us a voice.
For being out there helping keep the constitutional republic. I want to thank you for
your support for veterans in the military.
Educating us.
Standing up for conservatism.
Giving us the truth.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey, look at you. You're looking good. It's Drew Steele. This is Florida's Voice. That's Big D on the other side of the glass. That's Nina in the breaking newsroom. And it's you hanging out with us today at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. Coming up, property taxes. Nobody likes them. You got to pay them. What if you can triple what it is that you do as a homeowner here in the state when it comes to your exemption? What about the homestead property tax exemption being tripled? Would you like that? Why don't we talk about that coming up in just a minute? Anytime you want to call, 866-588-8303 is the phone number. So let's get into a little bit of what's going on here nationally. First of all, we're going to play some more audio of the president with Emmanuel Macron just a little while ago, and it seems like they have a little bit of a disagreement with regard to Ukraine and critical minerals and what we're going to be doing. Some messages that were put out recently by the president, as a matter of fact, on Truth Social. And this was this afternoon. Interesting that he said that Macron of France joined him in the Oval to speak about the G7 summit. The meeting was convened by Governor Justin Trudeau of Canada, the current chair of G7, to acknowledge the third anniversary of the Russia-Ukraine war, which never would have started if I was president. Can I just say that again? Governor Justin Trudeau of Canada. And let me just say this, and it goes on to talk about the importance of vital critical minerals and rare earth deals between the U.S. and Ukraine. Hope will be signed very soon. An economic partnership assured that the American people recoup the tens of billions of dollars in military equipment sent to Ukraine, helping Ukraine's economy grow. Good stuff, okay? And he's spot on. And I talked to some people over the weekend from Canada, and I have to admit, it was... Did I tell you this, Big D? I didn't even mention this. I talked to some really, really nice people from Canada, from Toronto, as a matter of fact. And they didn't talk anything like that. They definitely had a distinct and succinct accent. So I was like, hey, you're not from here. No, it wasn't like that. It just came up in conversation about Canada. And we openly talked about, because I had to ask, I'm like, what do you think about everything that's happening? What do you think their reaction was to Governor Trudeau and 51st State and all of that? What do you think that they said about all of that? Did that bother them or no? If you had to guess.
As most Canadians, I think they're upset with Trudeau the way he runs their country, correct?
Yeah.
That's what I'm seeing on social media. I'm not sure if it's just the people I follow or it's a generic thing, but I feel like it wouldn't bother them either way, if it happened or not.
So here, this is funny. So there were two young people, that college kids in Toronto, and it was funny because the reaction from them was, does Trump have to talk that way? It's kind of, we're mad. We're upset that he's doing this. I mean, and then went through, the military partnership between the U.S. and Canada and everything. And then one of the young people that were there were like, we love Trump. Basically, they said, but we love Trump. Don't get us wrong. Love him. Love everything that he did. Like, they love Trump. They just didn't like that. But at the same time, maybe I shouldn't have said it this way, but I was being kind. But I said, you're here. You're visiting. So I guess you're cool with everything. And they're like, yeah, we're always going to visit. We're not going to stop coming.
If they're here, we can't be that bad.
Right. We're not going to stop coming to the United States. We're good. I mean, we don't like how Trump does things, but we love America. We love the country.
That's fair.
Yep, that is very fair. And so that was my little Canada thing there. But so we'll get to some of what was discussed earlier today. I just wanted to get to something else that the president put out on his Truth Social account. Low-life chairman of Comcast, Brian Roberts, the owner of ratings-challenged NBC and MSDNC, has finally gotten the nerve up to fire one of the least talented people in television. The mentally obnoxious racist Joy Reid. Based on her ratings, which were virtually non-existent, she should have been canned a long time ago with everyone else who works there. Pretty much went on a whole Rachel Maddow stinks, Alex Wagner stinks, everybody stinks. I don't know what you are all doing. It stinks. Now, I don't know why you would say that about Joy Reid and she stinks, and the mentally obnoxious and racist Joy Reid. I'm just trying to figure out.
There's a thing about both white vigilantism and white tears, particularly male white tears. Really white tears in general.
No, I can't do it anymore. All right, so there was a little tinge of things that were coming up on Joy Reid's program and even on her social media and putting things out there into the ether that could have sounded a little bit sort of racist, allegedly. That kind of stuff out there. It was a little frustrating. Plus the idea that she wasn't exactly a fan of Trump at any turn. MSNBC, NBC, CNN, the Washington Post. I can go through everybody pretty much. The left-leaning media who doesn't like Trump always had some kind of thing to say about him, even if it was distorting things completely out of proportion.
Donald Trump had one job. He had one crisis. He's saying, all of these things were perfect. You had one crisis, bruh. It was called the pandemic. And you know what you did? You bollocksed it completely. You did so poorly at managing.
I can't do it. Okay. So there you go. So that's a little bit of the tender Joy Reid and what she would say about Trump. And she was a little upset today. She was talking about tears before. She had a little of her own today.
My show had value, and that that what I was doing had value. And in the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV.
No, she tried not to cry, but she's crying. All right, so Joy Reid is a little upset that her program that leaned really heavily into 1619 and Black Lives Matter and Trump is bad and Trump is evil and a couple of things that could have been construed as racist, allegedly, and things like that. She's upset that finally NBC and Comcast was like, you're not exactly grabbing the ratings. And some might even say that after this election, the narrative and everything you're putting out, it's just not connecting. Maybe they just didn't get their message out. That's the problem. It's like Democrats. It's like, man, if people, I don't understand how they don't know about us, how they can't understand where it is we're coming from. It's the messaging. It's because there's too much disinformation out there. Now, I know that some on the left feel that way, disinformation, and that's the reason why the people are upset with Democrats, is because many people have said it on the left side. There's the Democrat Jasmine Crockett of Texas, who's making the media rounds, and I guess she is the new spokesperson for the Democrat Party. And she just wants to let everybody know.
But we are talking about what we're going to do, and we're talking about what we are doing. But a matter of amplifying those things is a lot more difficult. And I think that it's important that those of us that sit in Congress have to figure out what is really the best way for us to communicate. And we've got to settle into that and recognize that not everyone's going to sit on a podcast. Not everyone's going to be social media savvy. But they are going to have to find their communication lane. And so I do think that it's it is something that we struggle with.
Okay, so Democrats struggle with communication. Big D, I just want you to get this because I want you to you might have to write it down. Democrats, the left, who own the media in this country, the old school legacy media, every alphabet media outlet plus Washington Post, the LA Times, go right down the list, right? They have a problem communicating. They can't figure out how to get the message out. Are you okay? Did you fall? Are you all right?
That's unbelievable.
Why? Because they own everything and they're saying they can't communicate? Like, how do you have complete and utter dominance, basically, I mean, in the past, over what has been communication and still can't figure out a way to get your message out?
That's what I'm saying.
I know. It seems almost ridiculous. And actually it is, because you did get your message out and everybody was like, yeah, no, we're not doing this. We don't, we certainly don't.
We choose truth over facts.
I don't know where that came from, but anyway. And then she finished out by saying this, the Democrat, lefty, Crockett from Texas.
If we know right now, we obviously have X that's owned by Elon. We've also got, the other news network that I won't name and some other things. So there's an actual ecosystem that pumps out this disinformation consistently on behalf of them.
Okay, so that's what it is. So it's a disinformation campaign that's being pumped out in places that the left, I guess, can't go to them. They don't do podcasts at all. Really? Are you sure about that? And it's got nothing to do with the message or lack of one. It just has to do with there's too many places where the disinformation is coming out, and it's ruining everything. You're ruining everything. You're ruining everybody's good time. Oh, by the way, before we move on from this topic, the firing of Joy Reid, and I don't know what they're going to do at MSNBC. It's just good to know that ultimately there isn't the same kind of talk that was there before or while Joy Reid. Like, the whole idea is that you get rid of Joy Reid and you're talking about something different, right? You're not bringing up the same old topics or issues or anything. You're kind of moving on from that and maybe being hard hitting. So it's kind of good to see that it's not the same old talker.
That what Donald Trump is doing is trying to bolster his argument for what he's saying here at home. The basis of the argument is white people are being discriminated against. This is why you got to shut down DEI, because it's not meritocracy.
Yeah, what was I thinking? That was actually the show after Joy Reid was let go, the one that was taking over her time slot. And they're doing the same thing, as if they learned lesson none. Or no lesson at all. Lesson none. Like zero. No lesson. It's just, they're just going to keep. All right, well, what else can we talk about here on Florida's Voice? How about this right here in the state of Florida? I got to tell you, there are very few constitutional amendments in the state of Florida that you feel like have a straight shot to the top, which is like trying to be dramatic. In other words, I think this has a clear shot at being passed by numbers to which we have never seen. Under a new proposal, Floridians may have the chance to vote on tripling the state's homestead property tax exemption. Not doubling, tripling the state's homestead property tax exemption. So an amendment, this is a proposed amendment to Florida's Constitution, bringing the homestead exemption from the current $25,000 that we all enjoy up to $75,000. It would also continue an already approved measure to increase the exemption to keep up with the rate of inflation. Senator Blazin Golia filed the SJR 1016 to accompany the Senate bill to implement these changes. Relief from high property taxes. Skyrocketing taxes. Floridians are demanding relief. The current homestead exemption doesn't cut it anymore. When your home value goes up, so does your exemption. Golia said if voters approve the amendment, the tax cut would total $2.6 billion with a B. That's the largest in state's history. And he agrees with the governor in this recent push to outright eliminate property taxes, but it may take years to get it done. So in the interim, You've got both chambers in the Florida legislature that have to pass this resolution and then sent off to the Secretary of State here in the state of Florida to get some further action and ballot placement. But that is interesting because on the one hand, you have the governor who is talking about the elimination of property taxes. And oh man, locally, people are going to be kicking and screaming because a lot depends on that. But on the other hand, to Senator Ngolia's point, and certainly we will have him on soon enough to talk about this, that how long will that take? And what we can see in relief now, and that would be pretty big. You know, and when you hear the governor who has been talking, because, you know, there are people that will automatically say things like, well, where are we going to make up that money from? I always love how that works. I'm just saying in life in general, not necessarily in the state, but life in general, where people will look at something and see a cut, whether it's federal government or even in your life. And you'll see in this case, this tax cut would be $2.6 billion. Well, what are we going to do as a state to make that up? And it's always about trying to figure out how to get that money back as opposed to cutting. I'm not saying that necessarily that's always the way it is in the state of Florida. Certainly it's not the way the governor has been talking lately. But other people do that because they're always like, they don't want to talk about, they'll talk a tax cut, but they don't want to talk about cutting what it is that they're spending either. It's like, oh, I get carried away here. We're not bringing that money in, but we're going to have to figure out where we're going to get it from. No, you can also take it back. And that's why a lot of people like to hear what the governor said earlier in the audio that we played about this Doge-style AI looking at the auditing of spending and the possible exploration of what will be the abolition of property taxes and this Doge task force that we're going to have here in the state to amplify efficiency efforts and spearhead audits at state universities and maybe eliminating 70 state boards and commissions. Do we have a little bit of bloat? Bureaucrat? Oh, I can't say it. Come on, D. Say it. Bureaucratic
bloat.
Bureaucratic bloat. It's hard to say. You do it. I'm talking to D. He already did. I'm saying you. Watching the program at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. Yeah, the getting rid of that bloat. And I mean, I would assume we should have been doing this for a long time, getting rid of bloat. Auditing state universities, eliminating state boards and commissions. And I will tell you that I also like the idea of auditing, everything. I like audits. I like knowing where my tax dollars are going. I like knowing how the state of Florida is spending money. Look, we do great things here. There's no doubt about it. But I certainly would, for example, as I've said many, many times, some to the detriment of your ears, that I would love to audit all the environmental money that's going out. All I see is billions and billions. I hear a lot of money going out. And constantly millions and millions and then billions. I think the new budget was like, the request from the governor was like 1.5 billion, going out to environmental issues and Everglades restoration and the like, and that nice big broad term. I mean, who doesn't want to restore the Everglades? I mean, well, probably people on the east coast of Florida who live in certain areas where if it was restored to the pristine way that it was before certain things happened there on this side of the lake, then there wouldn't be any east coast of Florida. Look it up, the history of what I'm talking about. But I digress. The point is that I want to know where that money is going. I want to make sure it's going into the needs that we have, like EAA, as it's been discussed, and other things that we need to do to make sure that we are taking care of the Everglades and not taking care of certain people who, might want to take that money and environmentally abuse it, per se. In other words, they're taking it and not using it for things that are tangible. Hope that makes sense. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk maybe a little bit more about environmentalists and environmentalism here in the state coming up in just a few more minutes. Just some questions that I have about that. But I like that we would be looking at some of the bloat here in the state. Some of the things that we could kind of streamline, if you will. I think that's always a positive. All right, what else do we have going on here on Florida's Voice? Yeah, I noticed this yesterday. A lot of people were talking about the election in Germany, and one of the things that you probably have heard about and recognize, and look, even if you don't know and don't understand politically how it turned out, because a lot of people are like, all right, elections in Germany, what does that even mean? Germany was able to count 100% of the 50 million ballots, their votes, in under 8 hours. Every single one of them was paper ballots. 100%, 50 million ballots, all paper, counted in under 8 hours. No, there's no way. That's impossible. I've been told by just about every lefty that's out there that we've got to have machines. The only way we can do it is machines. And as a matter of fact, the only way we can do it, elections that is we have to have at least, I don't know, D, do you like it better when it's 2 weeks, a month, 5 months, 6 months out from an election? How about a year out of an election? Why don't we have people voting a year before the election takes place? Because we want to make sure that every vote counts. And we have to guarantee that they're going to get there. So how do we know for sure? I mean, if they vote a year ahead of time, I think we'd be in a good place.
A year ahead of time?
Well, I'm only saying that because it feels like, we can't do it all in one day. We got to have at least a week. Well, let's make it 2 weeks. Well, we have to think about what's going on. What if you're on vacation or something like that? How are you going to be able to do that? So maybe we make it 6 weeks. Do you see what I'm saying? It gets ridiculous. Like, why can't we just do it in one day? Oh, we can't do it in one day. Why not? If everybody knows the one day that we have to do it, why couldn't we do it in the one day? Well, it's just not easy. It's not convenient. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it important to you? And especially if we get it right. And then, of course, with the paper ballot issue, I think that we can go back to that. I think that would be nice as opposed to the machines. That's all I'm saying, D. It's just people get crazy with the amount of time it takes to vote. And you feel like the longer that you need to actually vote, that the more fraud could occur. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I worry about. Not big on fraud. Don't know a lot of people that are.
You either?
What is that?
I said you either? Not a fan of fraud?
Yeah, no, yeah. It's a weird thing, D. And thanks. It's a weird thing. When I think of fraud, I'm like, yeah, no, not me. So I just think it is interesting how you see it in action and you see other people doing it when it comes to elections. And I know, in the state of Florida, we're just different. We're built different. Like, literally, we're built different as a state with the governor and the legislature and the way we work and even municipalities across the state and how with elections we're able to do things, because people are always like, oh, man, I love my mail-in vote. Don't take my mail-in ballots away or don't take these certain things away that have been such a convenience for us. And, well, unfortunately, the left exists, so you can't have nice things. That's typically how it works. I hate to say it, but I don't know, maybe a discussion for another day. My name is Drew Steele, and this is Florida's Voice.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA, is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families, and one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and you probably know this. I've had a music career, an EMI published songwriter in the past. I've had a top 20 Billboard hit and movie soundtracks. But I got my start right here in Southwest Florida at Soundcheck Studios with Jim Becker. I worked with Jim when he was producing big names like Castrol and Beck's Beer and other commercial clients from ABC, NBC, CBS. He's done it all. It doesn't make a difference what your musical style is. If you're talking about recording for bands or producing music, jingles, he does it all at Soundcheck Studios. Recently, he worked with RCA artist Doja Cat and also a Sony artist Flipped Arrow. A lot of great artists have made their way through Soundcheck Studios. So if you want to make your brand memorable with a jingle or maybe a commercial you want to cut, or maybe it's a band, give Soundcheck Studios a call today. 239-340-0515. That's 239-340-0515 for Soundcheck Studios.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
Hey, you got this. Just breathe. Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Radical anti-hunting forces are working to ban fishing and hunting across the country. These extreme attacks on our heritage must be met. Thankfully, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting back as the nation's premier organization defending our rights to fish and hunt. This April, you can step into the arena with us and join our fight in Naples, Florida. Join us at the historic Ritz-Carlton Tiburon and hear from world-class speakers including Tucker Carlson. The annual event is the best place for conservationists, anglers, hunters, and all those who want to protect the outdoors to come together, build strategies to protect our rights, and expand opportunities in the future for generations to come. Visit IOTR.org to learn more about our organization and to sign up to see Tucker in April. Visit IOTR.org to learn more about our organization and to sign up to see Tucker in April. You don't want to miss this event.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. And in our family, we're used to getting involved, and I encourage you to do the same, especially when it comes to caring for your loved ones. When I think about Alzheimer's and the impact it had on my family, I recognize that losing a race isn't such a bad day after all. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? It's time to shift gears and seize the fresh opportunities this new pro-business environment has to offer. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and the team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you, helping you go on the offense with advanced tax strategies, thoughtful risk management, and forward-thinking financial planning. Imagine enjoying the retirement lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve, all while staying one step ahead, and in a changing world, you've you've got to do it. Alfie and his team design personalized strategies to strengthen your financial foundation so you can focus on living life on your terms. Ready to find out more? Text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, you can call or text 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and see how a proactive approach can help you thrive no matter what the market does next. Don't wait. Call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470 right now.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Anytime you want to watch at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. Anytime you want to call, by the way, we are live 3 to 6 p.m. each and every day, Monday through Friday. You can call 866-588-8303. And anytime you miss the program, if for some reason you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, which is missing this program. I'm not saying you're doing something wrong with. Hey, you're missing the program. And you're like, hey, what did I miss? You can go to my website, drewsteele.com. Steele has 3 E's. That is 24/7, and you won't miss a second of the program. All right, let's find out what's going on right now in the Florida's Voice newsroom. It's top of the news.
Top of the news. Florida's headlines now.
All right, Michelle Vestarina's got the latest from the Florida's Voice newsroom. What's up?
Drew, there is no question Floridians are feeling the pinch these days between the rising costs of gasoline, groceries, and expensive insurance premiums. But it appears lawmakers are now working to get you some much-needed relief from, get this, your property taxes. That story in a moment, but first, 2 Republican lawmakers in Tallahassee have filed new legislation to cut bureaucratic waste and government overreach. Representative Tiffany Esposito filed House Bill 305 and Senator Danny Burgess filed Senate Bill 448 to cut the red tape and boost Florida's economy. Esposito tells Florida's Voice that this proposal is inspired by the work Elon Musk is doing in Washington with DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. Burgess says all the red tape created by government creates unnecessary costs on Florida business owners. If approved, it would take effect July 1st. Speaking of efficient government, Governor Ron DeSantis wants a DOGE task force in Florida. He announced the news at a press conference today. He says Florida's DOGE would use artificial intelligence to spearhead audits across the state, possibly even audits of local governments. He said he'll work with the state lawmakers to eliminate bureaucratic bloat and modernize state government to serve Floridians for years ahead. And that's not all the governor said at that press conference. DeSantis says he supports eliminating property taxes for Floridians too. He said that same Florida DOGE task force would look at eliminating property taxes. He said homestead exemptions are just not enough to help people suffering from the burdensome taxes, especially seniors living on fixed incomes. DeSantis says property taxes are akin to, quote, basically paying rent to the government to live on your own property. And that's all for now. Be sure to check out all of the stories we're covering for you today and every day. Head over to flvoicenews.com for that. I'm reporter Michelle Vesarina for Florida's Voice. Drew, back over to you.
All right, Michelle, we appreciate you in the Florida's Voice newsroom. And, of course, anytime you want to check out the stories that she talked about or anything that we're doing here, you can go to flvoicenews.com. That is the website. All right, let's see what else is going on here on Florida's Voice. All right, so I noticed this. Someone seems to be very upset over some things that are out there and have been put out with regard to the environment. And it happens to be a company, I guess, that people know. And, well, let's just get right down to it. Travis Thompson joining us right now on Florida's Voice. All Florida, allfla.org, great website. Cares about, of course, conservation here in the state, cares about all of us, and certainly cares about this story, and he should. It sounds pretty interesting. First of all, how are you, sir?
Good, Drew. Thanks for having me back, buddy. It's good to see you again.
Always great to see you.
We didn't go 9 months this time between visits.
Has it been that long? It hasn't been 9 months. That's not it.
No, it's been a couple weeks.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say that. I think it's been sooner than that, but you're throwing me off now. Now I'm just like, let's see, dates carry the 3. Okay. Anyway, all right. So tell me what happened here. There's I guess a clothing company that has upset you. Well, exactly what's going on? Tell me.
Well, it wasn't so much that it upset me. It just bothered me as a guy that, we work in conservation. Right. Conservation being not just hunting, fishing, wild lands. It's ag, it's ranching, it's the stuff that keeps that stuff wild. It's things we talk about all the time when I'm on your show. So there was a brand out there. It was Poncho Shirts. It's a very popular brand in the ranching community, the ag community, and they'd shared a post from our friends at Captains for Clean Water and demonizing the Southland Reservoir, and it was just kind of out of context. It was kind of out of left field. It was kind of shocking because when you look at captains' positions, they're so often anti-ag, anti-ranching, anti the people that are supporting this clothing brand, that it seemed like what is happening here. And I really don't like cancel culture, but I also don't like the irony of you want to take my dollars and use it, but you don't really care about me at all. And that's what kind of irritated me about this situation is, I've spent a lot of money with Poncho. My board all has Poncho shirts. We've gone through kind of the motions with them, and they felt like a pretty safe organization. And here they are promoting something. And frankly, it frustrated me enough to where I shared it on my story and my post, and it definitely got some attention.
Yeah, well, clearly. So, do you want to get into detail on what was said and what the problem is specifically?
Well, yeah, what was said was they were sharing one perspective, which I'm a marketplace of ideals guy. You can share all the perspectives you want,
sure,
but they were only sharing one perspective on this story, and they were doing it and sharing it from a group that is against the people that buy their merchandise, the people that support their brand, and that it's ironic, but it's also hypocritical to me to do that kind of stuff just because you want the marketing clout or you want a virtue signal that you're caring about conservation. And to Poncho's credit, I want to give them credit. They reached out immediately. They took the post down and they kind of admitted, we didn't do much recon on this. We thought, hey, this seems like a good group. We're going to support this group. But also, I'd like to give credit too. Game Guard reached out. That's another shirt brand. Snaps reached out. They're an incredible shirt brand. One of their board members lives in Florida, or C-suite members lives in Florida. A lot of brands want to act like they care about the things that we care about. What I call the way of life things in Florida, right? The way of life things are hunting, fishing, ag, ranching, being outdoors. Those are the things that kind of give Florida its character. And there's a lot of brands that want to be about that, but it's hard to be about it if you just want to go virtue signal or promote something that's not really in that. And like I said, I'd like to give Poncho credit because they did walk it back and took the post back.
Right.
But it definitely gave me pause and gave me, as somebody that spent a lot of money with them and honestly talked about their brand a lot online and around people in real life. It was just a frustrating thing to kind of watch.
Yeah. And I think, Travis, I think politically, this happens more often than not, or at least maybe not more often than not, but it happens often enough and we don't call it out or recognize it. And it's that there are companies that will see somebody or look at an organization, let's just say, politically minded. They are not the brand, but the people that they're looking at, and think that they're doing something that's good and want to get behind it because it is overarching. They may think that that they're doing the right thing without doing the recon, without looking into the organization, without actually finding out what they're about. And then ultimately they get caught back on their heels because they didn't realize it, because they didn't do the work that needs to be done these days, especially, which is to find out more about these organizations. Like, what do you stand for? What are you doing? What are you doing with the money you're getting? I mean, all of these different things. Like, what do you do? And so there are places that they just don't know because they're not checking on it.
And we look to them as consumers, as being kind of leaders, tastemakers, whatever.
Yeah.
Be it a shirt, be it a cooler company, be it a boat manufacturer, whatever. We kind of look at them as like, oh, if they're supporting this thing, it must be a good thing because we know that boat's good or that cooler's good or that shirt's good.
Right.
And I think there needs to be more onus placed on some of these brands, both from an accountability standpoint and just a leadership standpoint, that I don't care if a holding company bought you or whatever. If you're going to play in the conservation game, you need to understand your clientele. You need to understand your market. You need to understand where you're working. And I challenged the brand I talked to. I said, look, I'd go look at the addresses of where you sell these shirts in Florida, and I guarantee you it's Okeechobee, it's Clewiston, it's Ocala, it's the heartland of the state. That's where I see them all the time. That's everybody I know about is wearing a cowboy hat, cowboy boots, and those shirts. So let's check check yourself before you wreck yourself a little bit here. We don't want to get out in front of our skis.
First of all, I love that you said check yourself before you wreck yourself. That is good stuff right there. Number one, that was good. Personally, I appreciate that. And the second thing is just, again, so everybody understands what's going on here. You know, you have an organization that is anti what it is that they are putting out there. Well, the brand backs a company that clearly is anti where the brand is going, like where their home is, like where their people are. And it's so important that, you know, that we as consumers, you know, double check, do our own due diligence, certainly. But yeah, at the same time, these are frustrating stories. It's frustrating times with this. And I think it's another aspect before we go, Travis. I think that to be clear about what it is you do, and what you're looking at here in the state with All Florida, the important things that you're concerned about with regard to being a conservationist and what that means.
Yeah, to me, it's very simple. It's like I said a minute ago, it's the way of life things. It's your fishing, your hunting, your ranching, your agriculture. Those are the things that are going to keep wild Florida wild. Conservation is seeking the proper use of a tool. It's not keeping a tool it's not keeping something from being used. It's using it correctly. And those are all things that use land correctly. They use wildlife correctly, hunting, fishing. We don't want to kill all the fish, right? We want to manage the fish so there's always fish to keep. We don't want to plow up all the land. We want to rotate our crops and make sure the land is well. You can go to any of the cattle ranches and look at how they rotationally graze and store water. We want to be good stewards of what we got. That's what we're about, is trying to be good stewards of what we got.
All right. So before we go, I got one question for you, because it was like this weird thing that popped up, and Big D on the other side of the glass was like, you got to ask Travis because maybe he knows what. So there was a story out of Ave Maria that I talked about. An alligator had a football in its mouth. The alligator's fine. The football, they found it later on. But it had, and so a guy was like, I was going to go to the alligator, and I just figured I'd stick it with a knife and then, you know, deflate it, and then everybody would be happy. And of course, the gator's not going for that. What would you do? Like, what do you do in that case? It's like everybody's fine, but what would you? I'm asking you, what would you do?
I'm going to give you the PG radio appropriate answer. I am a Florida man, so I'm not going to tell you what I would do. But the right answer is to call FWC and get FWC involved in that alligator immediately, because you don't want it to swallow it and choke it. Alligators have a little flap at the back of their throat, and so once something gets in, it can't get out.
Right.
So you wouldn't want him to swallow it and choke it, but you also don't want to go to it with a knife and try to poke it. That seems like a
terrible idea.
That seems like a Florida man story that's not doing good PR for any of us.
That is right. That's not doing good PR. Can we stop with the Florida man stories? People are watching and listening, and if too many of these come up, then they all make fun of us. But that's all right. We have the last laugh. We live in Florida. Where do you live, and what's the temperature by you right now? Let me just ask that question. But I digress. I know I'm getting a little cocky. I shouldn't do that. Yeah, I just figured. I picture you. Well, I don't know. I'm like thinking you would wrestle the alligator. No, you wouldn't wrestle the alligator.
Listen, I've been around some alligators a lot in my life. I've hunted a lot of alligators. I've done private land stuff with alligators. I'm not wrestling an alligator.
No way.
There's a line between bravery and stupid, and I'm not crossing that line. You know what I mean? Like, don't
do that. Good message for the kids.
It's hard to show you my scars if I'm dead.
Make a phone call. That's it. You make a call. It's that simple. Leave the gators alone. All right. All right, Travis. Listen, great to see you. All the best. God bless, and we'll speak soon. And I'm sure it'll be sooner rather than later this time.
Take care, Drew. Thanks for having me.
All right, my friend. We'll see you. It's Travis Thompson, of course. He is the executive director of All Florida, and they do some great work there. And if you want to check out the website, find out more about them, it's allfla.org. And listen, conserving what we have here in the state of Florida, it's important that we do that. And it's good stuff. All right, so in just a couple of more minutes, let's see, what else are we going to be discussing? Oh, yeah, there's a lot of interesting news that took place over the weekend that I wanted to touch on. Because, you know, the left likes to scream and yell and bring people onto networks and talk about how awful it is that we're firing all of these people from these federal jobs. And they're going onto the networks and they're very upset. And granted, you got a job. You're upset that you lost a job. I understand that. I really do. But there has to be a point where you're like, hey, should that job have existed to begin with? I'm just saying that just because the government creates all of these jobs while creating nothing, see what I did there? And you happen to get said job and then lose said job, and then you're upset about losing that, but it shouldn't have been there to begin with. I have questions.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I like a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council. Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, if you're looking to take advantage of today's pro-business environment and strengthen your financial future, certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group have got you covered. They specialize in advanced tax strategies, risk management, and retirement planning, all aimed at helping high net worth investors like you thrive. Now, Alfie wants to share those insights with you with his book, Keeping You on the Retirement Fairway. It's packed with practical tips and forward-thinking strategies to help you make the most out of your hard-earned wealth. Ready to get your free copy? Text BOOK to 239-747-7470. That's 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Learn how to capitalize on that pro-business opportunities that are out there right now and secure the confident retirement you deserve. Once again, text BOOK to 239-747-7470 right now, and let Alfie Townsend and Advantage Retirement Group help guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
So, I'm here to get some food, and hello, mouse and machine. Dude, can I get a Cheetos? Give me my snacks.
They got to come up with a better vending machine.
Hey, little buddy.
That's what they got to do.
This is ridiculous.
And he's just chilling. He don't know.
He's just chilling. He don't care.
Well, it's a mouse. Okay. Big D, what do you do in Buffalo? Somebody was about to buy some snacks from the snack machine and the vending machine, and there was a note on the machine, and it said "Mousin' machine," and the guy's like, "Oh, whatever." And sure enough, he put the money in the machine, and through the glass, you could see the mouse in the machine. Now, I have a lot of questions. Is there anything in a snack machine that you would still partake in, even though the mouse was in there, thinking that it was sealed up enough if you were hungry enough?
Absolutely not.
Okay, good. Okay, I just want to make sure it's for the kids. Okay, so they understand that. The second part is, if you saw a mouse in a vending machine, would you call said vending machine owner and say, "Dude, get this machine out of my place"? Or would you put a sign on there that says "Mouse in the machines"?
I would try to contact if there was a number on there. Where is the vending machine outside of? The store?
I don't know. It was inside of it was in Buffalo here. Let me find out more about it. You had to ask me the details. I don't know.
Well, if it's in the store, I'll get the store owner's
yeah, so you got
attention on it.
So there's yeah, so and it's they got the Doritos and the all the potato chips and stuff like that. And then if you look through one of the empty slots there in the tubes, like the little curly things, and there's the mouse just sitting right there.
How much was he?
That's an unfortunate question, and I'm gonna have to let you go now because that's a horrible thing to ask. How much is the mouse? That was your first reaction. I'll go back to D for just a quick second, and I gotta go. Your first reaction was how much was the mouse? Is that?
No, my first reaction was absolutely not.
Okay, that's true. All right, I'll give you that one. All right, what else do we? Oh, let me just play this real quick because I love this. This is a byproduct. Hopefully, you can hear this. This is a byproduct of a president who is blunt, to the point, doesn't care what you think, knows that you're part of the media and what you're trying to do to me, and I'm just going to tell it like it is. So you have the news that is out there with Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense. And I guess they're at a round table. They're getting ready to talk about some certain issues. And Pete Hegseth is at the table. And so one of the reporters wanted to ask about a lieutenant general that was chosen to be the next chairman of the Joint Chiefs. And what did the SecDef say when asked about why they would select, what is it?
Why did you select an underqualified retired lieutenant general to be the next chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff?
Okay, so the question being asked by the lefty media, why did you select an underqualified retired lieutenant general to be the next chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff? Well, instead of Pete Hegseth being like the Secretary of Defense Hegseth being like, I don't know, I'm not really sure, and then here's what he said.
I'm gonna choose to reject your unqualified question. Who's next?
I'm gonna choose to reject your unqualified question. Who's next over there? That's how you do it. And I bring that up because good for him. And the second part is, I think that's what Trump brings with his choices. No nonsense. We're not messing with you. Stop it with the ridiculous questions.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it. No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org.
All right, anytime you want to watch the program at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. Anytime you want to check out the program 3 to 6 p.m. or anytime after or before, you can go to my website, drewsteele.com. The website Steele has 3 E's. We play the show 24/7.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Congratulations on your show.
Congratulations on your new show. Big deal, huh?
That's why shows like yours are so important.
We have an independent county elected sheriff that's the head of law enforcement in Jacksonville/Duval County. And I know how to work toward making this city safe.
We can't be shy about speaking on things such as faith and politics. We have to remember, in a free society, the public square belongs to all of us.
I'm not interested in North Florida looking like Orlando or Miami. I love where we live, but I think that good jobs means that people that live in this district can stay in this district.
Fishing and hunting is funding a large part of your conservation projects in Florida, and we want to make sure that those are forever preserved.
And the problem with this industry at this point is that they actually target our youth. You can see it in their marketing strategies, where it's bright colors, fun names.
And that's going to be endlessly litigated.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? Now might be the perfect time to go on offense and seize the opportunities presented by the new pro-business environment ushered in by President Trump and his administration. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you. They create strategies designed to help manage taxes, control risks, and boost your financial confidence. It's a forward-thinking approach that can strengthen your foundation so you can enjoy the lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve. If you're ready to see how Alfie's team can help elevate your plan, call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and discover proactive strategies to help you thrive in an ever-changing world. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Let Alfie Townsend and the Advantage Retirement Group team guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
I've been dipping snuff for well over 30 years. You know, I could wake up in the morning and have a weird lump in my gums. Guess it's like playing Russian roulette, really. I would love grandchildren. And if by quitting it extends my life some, I would gladly lay it down.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
Today, push harder, push forward, push vigorously.
There are things that I am hiding from people that I'm trying to inspire.
You can do whatever you set your mind to.
I feel like a hypocrite a lot of the times.
Don't give up on yourself ever.
Smoking, I hide it because I'm ashamed of it. I want to get out of the shadow. I want to show people there is light away from the darkness. I am going to quit.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
It's always a good day when you hear from TJ Meister from the Floor Meisters in Naples, 6281 Naples Boulevard, 239-596-4964. All right, let's see what's going on with TJ today. How are you, TJ?
I'm doing well, thank you, Drew. It's good to hear you on the radio.
Thanks, TJ. Appreciate it. All right, Floor Meisters, what do we got going on?
Well, we're just keeping up with the demand for Cortec. Just had to order a truck and bring it in from the west coast of the United States to keep up with all the needs and wants of the people of Southwest Florida. Somebody doesn't have it, give me a call. I probably do.
Why do people love Cortec so much?
Well, it's waterproof, kid-proof, pet-proof. So if you got a pool, no problem. If you got a dog, no problem. If you got a husband that spills, no problem.
You got to call the Floor Meisters in Naples. What do you need? Tile, carpet, Cortec, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, 596-4964. Give them a call, 596-4964 for the Floor Meisters.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just got to hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Thank you for waking us all up out here.
For all you do.
Thank you for giving us a voice.
For being out there helping to keep the constitutional republic. I want to thank you for
your support for veterans in the military.
Educating us.
Standing up for conservatism.
Giving us the truth.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Well, hey, everybody. So glad you're joining us today on Florida's Voice. My name is Drew Steele. Big D's on the other side of the glass. You got Nina in the breaking newsroom. And you hanging out with us at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. Coming up in just a couple of more minutes, scheduled to join us is State Representative Vernie Jacques, who's got a couple of things that are going on right now with the Florida legislature. So we're going to talk about some of what's happening, including aims to enhance the security of Florida's elections. We'll get to that and some other things that are going on. Big D, how are you feeling today? How's it going on your side of the glass over there? Are you okay? Are you good?
All good. Not too bad for a Monday.
Not too bad for a Monday, everybody. And that's an important aspect of life. Just looking at Monday and going, not bad for a Monday. And just don't do anything else, because otherwise you get depressed and it ruins the week, and you don't want to do that. But then again, there are other things that are making the week really good, like how it's going for Democrats. Listen, I just have to be honest. Democrats are just a hot mess. And the Trump administration released what was information on favorability and unfavorability through a new Harvard-Harris poll and what they think about what Trump is doing. All right, so this Harvard-Harris poll reveals the majority of the country backs President Trump and his actions to bring reforms that are making America great again. If you wait a second, I thought they were really upset. I thought there was all kinds of stuff happening on the streets, and people were showing up at all doorsteps, and they're knocking and they're saying, "You don't like Trump, right?" I mean, it's been crazy. Not as much as you would expect. Almost not at all. 81% support deporting criminal illegals. 76% support a full-scale effort to find and eliminate fraud and waste in government. 76% support closing the border with additional security and policies. I mean, there's a lot here. Let's just put it this way. There are 10 different things that are being discussed, from negotiations with Russia to end the war in Ukraine, to offshore drilling, to government spending and cutting it in Congress, and all plus 60% and more. So everything is looking good right now. And then, of course, you have to ask what Democrats think, because they're in a different world. They're on a different planet than we are. Hakeem Jeffries was on the State of the Union with Jake Tapper recently, talking about the poll numbers for not only Republicans and Trump, but how about Democrats? And See, this is what the biggest problem with Democrats is. Short of not knowing how to legislate, short of not being fans of the Constitution or the rule of law, and being really dangerous in a lot of different ways to the safety and security of this country by encouraging open borders and, hey, it's only a couple of apartment complexes that have violent gang members in there. What's your problem? You know, that kind of stuff. Short of that, they're doing a great job. So Hakeem Jeffries wants to go on to CNN and do what? Lie about what it is that this administration wants to do. And then here comes Jake Tapper to the rescue. Wait, what?
House Republicans, they've been on the run. They are feeling the pressure of the fact that their policies are deeply unpopular.
Big D, I just have to ask you, do you feel like are you on the run? Do you feel like when we're talking about all the things that are going on right now with the Trump administration, do you feel like you're on the run, like you don't want to talk to anybody about it and people are really fearful to discuss what's happening with Trump? Are you?
I'm feeling pretty good, and I feel like a lot of people want to talk about it, actually.
Yeah, I feel quite the opposite. I don't know. What planet are you on?
With the American people. Yeah. And we've seen that play out this past week all across the country.
We have.
And Democrats are going to continue to make clear that we will stand against the effort to end Medicaid as we know it.
We're ending Medicaid? We are?
Stand against the effort to detonate Social Security.
Detonate Social Security and Medicaid. We're not just getting rid of it. We're detonating
Medicare.
it.
Certainly stand against the effort to undermine veterans' benefits or nutritional assistance to children and families.
We are? Wait, whoa. Of course, none of that's true, but nobody in the media is going to challenge Hakeem Jeffries, Democrat representative. But Jake Tapper does have a question for Hakeem Jeffries.
So it's certainly true that President Trump's poll numbers are not in a great place, although
I don't know. They're not in a bad place. Go ahead, Jake.
Higher than they ever were in his first term. But
yeah, well, they're higher than they ever were in their first term. And I wonder why that is. Could it be because the Democrats were perpetrating this Russiagate hoax for the longest time and trying to impeach him not once, not twice, but okay, anyway.
Congressional Republicans polling is about 40%. Congressional Democrats polling is at about 20%. So that's an issue for you.
Wow. Jake Tapper to the rescue. Forgive me, Democrat Hakeem Jeffries, but congressional Democrats are polling at about 20%. So that's kind of an issue for you. Maybe it's because all you're doing is lying. And you haven't been able to define, since President Trump's been in office, what you do, right?
This is what you do.
Yeah.
What you do.
What do you do? I don't know. Like, what is it that Democrats do? Oh, I guess there's that. But, I mean, you know, what is it? You can't keep doing this. Well, actually, you can, because it's really good for Republicans. But you can't keep telling people what you think is bad without telling people what you think is good. What would be good? What should you do? And you can't say the thing that you're going to do that is good is something that has to do with a lie you just said. Like, we're not going to take away we're not going to destroy, can't do that. But they continue to do it. And speaking of some of the lies, you know, you have a lot of people on the left who are absolutely positively melting down about the jobs that of federal workers that are going away. Now, let me preface this once again by saying, just so you lefties in the state of Florida understand what I'm saying, let's pretend that you work at a job. You are the business owner. And somehow along the way, you were convinced, as a matter of fact, in some cases mandated, that you take the 2 employees that you need and make them 20. You have a job, a business, that only needs 2 people to work in said business, but you were mandated and told that you need to hire 20. You don't need them, but you did it. Now, you want to have those 20 taken away. You only need the 2. If you shouldn't have had those jobs to begin with, when you get rid of said jobs, should the people there be complaining? Now, maybe that's a bad analogy because it's your business, but let's say it's the federal government. And let's say the federal government has been hiring people like crazy. And we don't need them. We don't need that many people doing the job. When said job goes away, it shouldn't have been there to begin with.
First, just tell us about this email and what it was like receiving it and what you all have talked about after getting it.
Email Elon Musk sends out. It's like, hey, why don't you do this? Tell me the 5 things that you've done this week. Tell me about your job. Like, what do you do? What are you doing? A couple of things. Number one, if you don't answer the email and say what it is that you've done in the past 5, like, what are the 5 things that you've done this week? What have you done this week at all? If you don't answer the email, there's a possibility that maybe you don't exist. Maybe that job doesn't exist. Maybe you're not at the job. And then if you can't answer the question, what does that say about what you should be doing? Well, let's see what she says. So here's a federal worker who's not very happy about this.
Sure.
Yeah.
I got this email Saturday afternoon, about 3 p.m.
Yeah.
And I felt absolutely infuriated.
She was infuriated. How dare you ask me what I do each day?
Getting this email with a demand within 48 hours to provide a response on what I did within the last week or face termination.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you do? What have you done? Instead of being angry, why don't you just tell me what you do?
This is clearly an attempt from Elon Musk to harass and bully and intimidate.
No. I'm asking you a question. There's tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people in the federal government working. I don't know what you do. Just tell me what you do. That's all. Just give me your job description.
Federal workforce, which is part of his broader plan to gut the federal workforce and privatize public sector services to ensure that corporations like his own can get more profit.
Oh, I see. All right. So the person who got fired there, the federal worker in a job that shouldn't have been there to begin with and has left said job and didn't want to, I guess, explain what it is that they've done in the past week. Like, what is your job description? What do you do? Reply to the email, 5 bullets of what you've accomplished last week, and CC the manager. And instead of just doing that, you got mad, and then next thing you know, you're fired. And so it's Elon Musk because he's trying to make a whole lot of money for himself. That's your answer. And that's what the media's answer has been too, is let's bring in the person who's been fired and let's all get the sads because this person shouldn't have been working there to begin with because we didn't need that person in that position. Meanwhile, you had plenty of times in the past where you were told, hey, that job's going away, and you might want to learn to code.
I come from a family where, in an area where it's coal mining in Scranton. Anybody who could go down 300 to 3,000 feet in the mine, sure and hell can learn how to program as well.
Hey, how come nobody was getting all upset about Joe Biden when Joe Biden said, yeah, you know, all you the coal miners and everything, yeah, the jobs are going to go away. Just learn to code. And people got laid off. People weren't able to work because oil pipeline employees and coal miners. And where was the people on CNN with the SADs? And those were legit gigs. Those were real jobs. I don't even know what this person in the federal government's doing. I have no idea. But I know they're melting down, and I know they have a place to go where they can melt down. So what about that? Am I allowed to ask about that? I guess not. I don't know. Let's bring in Representative Bernie Jacques, who's joining us right now on Florida's Voice, as I'm getting all worked up and excited, and he's listening to me and he's being very patient. Hey, it's great to see you again. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, Drew.
You don't mind that too much, do you? That I get a little worked up about certain things when it comes to, I don't know, waste, fraud, and abuse, and just I don't understand it sometimes. You know how people don't see what it is we're trying to do, whether it's here in the state or across the country, and people get very upset about this, and I just get worked up because I guess the hypocrisy bothers me too. You know, like there are people that lose their jobs all the time, and they're not brought out to TV networks to show, but it's only this time because it's a Republican, let's just say, that's doing it.
Absolutely. And look, Drew, there are some things that are worth getting worked up over. And this is one of them, right? And it's here is a situation where President Trump is making good on his promise to root out fraud, waste, and abuse. And he's doing it in a great pace to make sure to make good on that campaign promise. And of course, the media is going to try to do everything they can to bend over backwards to make the effort look bad. But this is exactly what the people signed up for. This is exactly why he got the majority of the votes and won the Electoral College and is now sitting at the White House.
Yeah. Let's talk about a little bit what you're doing. Obviously, Tallahassee getting ready for session, getting busy already. A lot of things that people are looking at and what we're going to do moving forward. I know there's something that you've talked about in some legislation that's looking at enhancing the security of Florida's elections. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. This is one of the issues that voters have been coming to me for quite some time. And as you know, I've been involved in election security, election integrity legislation since getting elected to the Florida House. And one of the things voters are telling me is that, Bernie, we need to make sure to verify citizenship when it comes to folks who are voting in our elections. And I was, when I first looked into it, I was shocked by the gap that existed. And a lot of election professionals admitted to me, they were like, look, at a certain point, it does become an honor system. So if somebody really wanted to exploit it, they can just register with the bare minimum identification and not even know, the officials may not even know if they're an actual citizen. They might find out later, but they might have voted for like 2 cycles. And so we want to close every single gap in our election system, and that's what our bill will do.
Yeah, and I think that's so important. You know, sometimes it's without it, I wonder how many people just throw their hands up. It's like, I know it, but what can I do about it, right? Unless something is tangible that's accomplished, right?
Absolutely. Well, there is something that the government at least is going to be able to do something about it, and that's increase registration verification processes and the upfront to make sure that people who are registering to vote in our elections are actual citizens. We also are boosting up the list maintenance aspect of this, the voter roll maintenance, to make sure that folks who are no longer living in our state, folks who are no longer living, period, are removed from the voter rolls, and certainly to make sure that our citizenship records are updated. And the big part of the bill is that it will now create a new designation on somebody's driver's license card that indicates whether or not they're a citizen or not. And that's going to be a great purpose, because once they go to the voting polling place to vote, and if an elections worker sees that designation, they will not allow them to vote with an actual ballot. They'll be given a provisional until they prove that they have become a citizen. Otherwise, we cannot count that vote.
Wow. All right. Yeah. And you know, another thing too about this, because I know when we talk about election integrity, it always feels like, and it's okay that we're having this conversation, because I think a lot of people sometimes always think, you know, that's always outside of the state. Like it doesn't happen here, but there are things, like you said, things that we can button up, that we can tidy up, that we can make sure, because we do a great job here in the state, but we can do better. And there are things like we just talked about that are not written, that are not tangible, and people throwing their hands up and they're not sure what to do. So it's okay that we're having this conversation. I think for some people, they might hear this and think, oh no, it's not happening here. We really don't have this conversation too often. But there are things that we can button up.
Absolutely. And you bring up a great point. Florida has done a lot of great things, and I would argue that we've led the nation when it comes to election integrity. In the short period from 2018, when Governor DeSantis got into office, working with the legislature, we've done a lot. And the state looks a lot different when it comes to voter security. If you will recall, and if your listeners will recall, the elections in 2018, there was some shenanigans that was going on. Right. It was a razor-thin margin between Gillum and DeSantis. Rick Scott went into recount territory. And on election night, let's not forget, Matt Caldwell actually won the race to be our Commissioner of Agriculture. And then they found boxes of ballots down in South Florida, and we ended up with Nikki Fried. Right. So that wasn't that long ago. That was 2018. Yeah. And since then, we've done a lot of great things. We've banned ballot harvesting. We've banned the unsupervised drop boxes. We have strengthened the vote by mail system. So we're not just sending out ballots out willy-nilly. You have to request it every cycle. And certainly this will be another move to tidy up on what we've been doing here in the state of Florida to make sure that there is integrity to our votes and that every voter can rest assured that their vote will be counted and not be diluted by people who are voting legally.
Yeah, no doubt. Is there maybe one other thing before we go to break? Because I know we got just a couple of minutes and we're getting to the break. Is there one other thing you wanted to bring up before we go to break? Maybe something else that you're working on and in the future we can explore a little deeper?
Absolutely. Today we just filed a great bill that will mandate E-Verify for all employers. It doesn't matter the size of the company. Every employer will have to run their employees through the E-Verify system so we can make sure that all workers in our state are legally authorized to work. This will go towards strengthening the state's position when it comes to illegal immigration by taking on illegal labor.
Well, it's good stuff. All right, so we've got a lot going on. I can't, it's funny. I'm trying to remember who I was just talking to, and it feels like, I know session hasn't started yet, but it feels like it's already been happening, right? If you get a couple of days to go home for a little while, and then you're back up into Tallahassee again. It feels like it's already been hitting the ground running, and there's a lot of work to do. And obviously, in the next few weeks, we'll be seeing you in person up there in Tallahassee. Looking forward to broadcasting. So we'll have a lot to talk about. So we'll see you then. In the meantime, thanks for joining us as always on Florida's Voice. We appreciate you. God bless. We'll see you soon. Okay.
Thanks, Drew. Take care.
All right, we'll see you. As Representative Vernie Jacques joining us on Florida's Voice, and it's amazing how, there's already been so much happening, even before we get the session going, and it feels like it's already started. But we got a lot of work hitting the ground running, a lot of things that are happening, and looking forward to talking more about some of these issues. And listen, it's okay. How do I say this the right way? There are things that we have going on here in this state. A lot of things that are really, really good. Amazing, quite honestly. And then there are some things that, look, we have to look at, we have to ask questions about. You can't be afraid to ask questions. No politician is perfect. No politician is perfect. Hey, can I say that again? Nobody. No one is perfect. There are things that you can ask questions about. There are people that are great. There are people that are good. There are people that stink. But certainly, we can ask questions. We can have a debate and conversation about what, for example, enhancing the security of Florida's elections. There are people that don't even think about it. We do such a good job here, and there's no doubt it's true. But are there some things that can be tidied up, fixed up? A couple of things that we've kind of glanced over and haven't really had a deep discussion about. And maybe now is the time to dig in. And it doesn't mean that, because, the left in the state of Florida will look at this and look at something like this and be like, okay, so what you're saying is everything's bad. See, it's not perfect. Or, I don't know, it could be about, it wouldn't surprise me. Let me see if I'm just going to kind of look around. Hey, Nina, if in the newsroom, I'll bet you, and I haven't seen anything yet, but has the Democrat Party in the state of Florida commented at all on anything the governor said today about DOGE, about property taxes, about anything? Because I'm going to bet that Nikki Fried and the Democrat Party probably put something out negative with regard to Republicans and the governor that has to do with that, only because that's their play. There is no other play. Like, if you know that the state is going to have its own kind of a DOGE, for example, and is going to look into whether or not there is a little bit of bureaucratic bloat, not waste, fraud, and abuse, but bloat. Like, maybe there are some places that we can check out and see if we can streamline, if there's some things that we can do. Why do I feel like, and again, I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Democrat Party was going to pounce, if you will, all over that and say something about it in a negative light for Republicans, as opposed to telling us all the great things that they do for the state, and that's why they have the governorship and the legislature. Oh, they don't. I'm sorry.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
I'm Chris Jakovic. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA. It is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families. And one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and you probably know this. I've had a music career, an EMI published songwriter in the past. I've had a top 20 Billboard hit and movie soundtracks. But I got my start right here in Southwest Florida at Soundcheck Studios with Jim Becker. I worked with Jim when he was producing big names like Castrol and Beck's Beer and other commercial clients from ABC, NBC, CBS. He's done it all. It doesn't make a difference what your musical style is. If you're talking about recording for bands or producing music, jingles, he does it all at Soundcheck Studios. Recently, he worked with RCA artist Doja Cat and also a Sony artist Flip De Niro. A lot of great artists have made their way through Soundcheck Studios. So if you want to make your brand memorable with a jingle or maybe a commercial you want to cut, or maybe it's a band, give Soundcheck Studios a call today. 239-340-0515. That's 239-340-0515 for Soundcheck Studios.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
Hey, you got this. Just breathe. Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Radical anti-hunting forces are working to ban fishing and hunting across the country. These extreme attacks on our heritage must be met. Thankfully, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting back as the nation's premier organization defending our rights to fish and hunt. This April, you can step into the arena with us and join our fight in Naples, Florida. Join us at the historic Ritz-Carlton Tiburon and hear from world-class speakers including Tucker Carlson. The annual event is the best place for conservationists, anglers, hunters, and all those who want to protect the outdoors to come together, build strategies to protect our rights, and expand opportunities in the future for generations to come. Visit IOTR.org to learn more about our organization and to sign up to see Tucker in April. Visit IOTR.org to learn more about our organization and to sign up to see Tucker in April. You don't want to miss this event.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. And in our family, we're used to getting involved, and I encourage you to do the same, especially when it comes to caring for your loved ones. When I think about Alzheimer's and the impact it had on my family, I recognize that losing a race isn't such a bad day after all. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? It's time to shift gears and seize the fresh opportunities this new pro-business environment has to offer. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and the team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you, helping you go on the offense with advanced tax strategies, thoughtful risk management, and forward-thinking financial planning. Imagine enjoying the retirement lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve, all while staying one step ahead, and in a changing world, you've got to do it. Alfie and his team design personalized strategies to strengthen your financial foundation so you can focus on living life on your terms. Ready to find out more? Text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, you can call or text 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and see how a proactive approach can help you thrive no matter what the market does next. Don't wait. Call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470 right now.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Anytime you want to call, 866-588-8303. Anytime you want to listen, maybe you missed the early part of the program today. Maybe you want to listen tonight at your convenience. 24/7. You can go to my website, drewsteele.com. Steele has 3 E's, and right there it just plays over and over and over again. I mean, not like annoyingly over and over and over again. It just repeats. Anyway, hey, let's do the top 5 audio clips of the day right now. It's my top 5.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is Drew's top 5. Number 5.
And the Congress, who could have oversight. The problem is, for decades, as we know, we haven't been able to do that job well, because even though we requested the data and requested the insight, it was hidden. How many of you know that bureaucracy was not forthcoming, right? They're not transparent. That's the whole point. That's the problem. That's the deep state that we talk about. So they were hiding from Congress. We didn't know that USAID was funding drag shows in Peru or whatever, transgender operas in Colombia or whatever, I mean, it's madness. But Elon has cracked the code. He is now inside the agencies. He's created these algorithms that are constantly crawling through the data, and as he told me in his office, the data doesn't lie. We're going to be able to get the information. We're going to be able to transform the way the federal government works at the end of this, and that is a very exciting prospect.
Hey, will we be able to trace the money back to some NGOs and certain people, and maybe it went to certain individuals that shouldn't have the money to begin with? I don't know. I mean, like that guy or maybe some of his family. I don't know. Just asking. That's the speaker. Speaker Johnson, who was talking about Elon and web crawling and finding out more about all of the monies that's been spent and getting to the bottom of a lot of what has been allocated out there, and for the first time, and the data doesn't lie, and all right, I like it.
Number 4.
I just want to tell you a little story. So we were at the Eiffel Tower having dinner with your wonderful wife and with my wonderful wife, and we came out, and he started speaking the French deal. And we didn't have an interpreter, and he was going on and on and on, and I was just nodding, yes, yes, yes. And he really sold me out, because I got back the next day and I read the papers. I said, that's not what we said. He's a smart customer, I will tell you that.
He's a smart customer. That is the President of the United States, Donald Trump, sitting next to Emmanuel Macron from France. And just before they had a meeting today, he was telling a story about him speaking French without an interpreter. And he's like, hey, wait, hold on a second. That's not what I said at all, which is kind of a funny story when you think about it, because it's sort of like how the mainstream media and the fake news media does it to Trump all the time. It's like, hey, that's not what I said at all. Like, why did you do that? It's kind of funny without speaking French.
Number 3.
First, just tell us about this email and what it was like receiving it and what you all have talked about after getting it.
Sure. I got this email Saturday afternoon, about 3 p.m., and I felt absolutely infuriated getting this email with a demand within 48 hours to provide a response on what I did within the last week or face termination. This is clearly an attempt from Elon Musk to harass and bully and intimidate the federal workforce, which is part of his broader plan to gut the federal workforce and privatize public sector services to ensure that corporations like his own can get more profit.
No, that's not what it is at all. That's a federal worker who's melting down because she had 48 hours to respond to tell everybody what she does. Like, why do we pay you? Why do my tax dollars pay you? Oh, no, and she's upset about that. No. The reason why he's asking, please provide us this email with approximately 5 bullets of what you've accomplished last week, being your job, and CC your manager. Because nobody knows what you do. Because when you have hundreds of thousands of employees in the federal government, I just want to know what you do. That's all it is. Why would you get upset about that?
Number 2.
My show had value, and that that what I was doing had value. And in the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV.
Yeah, she tries not to cry, but she's crying. That's Joy Reid, who used to have a program on MSNBC, The Readout, and The Readout's out. Like, they're not reading out anything. It's gone. She was let go by MSNBC, among some others, I understand. And that's her being very upset about leaving. Now, I'm kind of upset about her leaving because it's always fun when you get to play audio from a big lefty who sometimes can be a little crazy, over the top, and some other things that we don't want to say. But certainly, I hope that she does a podcast or something, because I'm just gonna miss the audio.
Number 1.
President Attorney General Bondi, and now Director, gosh, that sounds good to say, FBI Director Akash Patel offered this role, a role I expressed an interest in. And ladies and gentlemen, I told you, you see, it's hard for me. I'm going to accept the role proudly as the deputy director, the number 2 spot at the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Oh, that is so, what a good, last week was a great day with Kash Patel and the director of the FBI and being sworn in. And we were just like, Kitty, this is awesome. It gets even more, Big D, is it awesomer or it just gets more awesome? Can I say it gets awesomer?
More awesome.
Can I say awesomer?
You could say whatever you'd like.
Okay. It's so cool. So Trump announced on Sunday night, last night, that Dan Bongino is going to be the deputy director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And that is awesome.
Drew's Top 5.
That's what the kids say. The kids sing. When something's really awesome, they sing it. It's so good that Dan is going to be taking this position. And I mentioned this earlier in the program, and you can't miss this. It's very, very important. A couple of things. Number 1, you've got to have people around you that you trust. You've got to have people around you that you know are going to help you to accomplish the mission, to do what is needed and what is best for the American people, and to fix what is absolutely broken, but to also go after those who, for some reason, have not been gone after. I'll get to that in just a second. I love that Director Patel said, I want somebody close that I trust, somebody who understands the mission, somebody who understands what we are trying to accomplish together. And there's a lot of work there and has been doing incredible work. If you know anything about Dan Bongino, you know that, well, number 1, he doesn't mess around. Number 2, he doesn't mess around. And number 3, he digs in, he investigates. Of course, it's part of his background. And he knows things. Oh, he knows stuff. And I'm not just talking about being smart and a very wise man, like knows stuff. I mean, investigating some of the dirt and some of the ne'er-do-wells. And so I use the word ne'er-do-wells. Big D, I just said ne'er-do-wells. It's the first thing that came.
I'm not sure I've ever heard that.
I don't know. You don't know what a ne'er-do-well is? Okay, look it up. Nina in the breaking newsroom, give it to me. Ne'er-do-well. Look it up. Go to Al Gore's famous Google machine. I have no idea where I went there. But a couple of things he knows from all his time, obviously,
Secret Service and being a cop and that skill of investigating, digging into the details of some of the past, some of the things that he has looked into, some of the things that he has talked about on his program.
Spygate, Obama was in charge. Collusion hoax, Obama's in charge. The Hillary email scandal, Obama's in charge. The bribery scandal, Obama's in charge. There's a common thread. This isn't a conspiracy theory. What did I just say that's not factually accurate?
No, it is factually accurate. And what about that? Do we get to investigate that? We sure do, and we should. And as it goes back to something else that he said, I believe on Friday's program.
I know it's a story that's old and a lot of people want to move on. I'm going to be straight with you. I don't want to move on. We had the FBI in conjunction with the Department of Justice, officials in Congress, foreign governments, and intel people fabricate a story, invent a story that could have caused and done serious long-term harm to international relations with a nuclear-powered foe. It's kind of a big freaking deal.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. What is he talking about? He's talking about Russiagate. He's talking about the fact that you had what everybody knows now to be true. Hillary Clinton, the DNC, Perkins Coie, the Steele dossier, FISA warrants, all of these things that took place, the weaponization of the federal government against the political foe, not acceptable. Not only is it not acceptable, but the people who did it have to be held accountable. There's something else that he said again, and I brought this up earlier, and it bears repeating. It's important. Please don't miss this. Go ahead. You can play that.
Letting it go. And you listen to me. This is going to be very important in the coming days. I'm not letting this go.
Nice.
I want to find out what happened because it can never happen again. Not to a Democrat, not to a Republican, not to a Libertarian.
Stop. That's the takeaway. Don't miss this. You tell your friends, you tell your enemies, you tell whoever will listen to you. You need to communicate that. Hey, Florida lefties, listen to me. Come close to the radio. Come close. Well, not that close. And if you're watching from a distance, okay, good. Listen, that goes for you too. What was done to Trump should never happen again to anybody. And to Dan's point,
I want to find out what happened because it can never happen again. Not to a Democrat, not to a Republican, not to a Libertarian.
Nobody. That's the point. He knows the story of Russiagate better than anybody. He knows what's been going wrong within the FBI. He knows what's been going wrong with our intelligence community. He just knows. And most of all, he knows that the number one thing, the most important thing is the Constitution and the rule of law. We've got to save this country. We have to save this country from those who would try to tear it apart and keep it together for everyone to ensure that this never happens again to anybody, Republican, Democrat, Independent, Libertarian, it doesn't matter. That's a beautiful thing. That's what's going to happen. And I couldn't be any more excited. It's so cool. So now you have Director Kash Patel, Deputy Director Bongino. It's surreal. Big D, it's surreal. I mean, it's like...
It's great.
It's sort of like if you... Years ago, it's like you made it up. It's like, what would be... You're sitting around with your buddies, you're having an adult beverage, just one and you're not driving. And you're gathered around, I don't know, a fire pit safely in your backyard or something like that. And you're sitting around and the fire's going and it's crackling and it's the evening time. And I'm sitting there with D and I'm like, wouldn't it be awesome if Kash Patel were the director of the FBI? And then, oh man, who should be the deputy director? Who would be the best? What would be so cool?
Could you imagine if it was Dan Bongino?
No, it couldn't happen. No.
Just think about it.
No. Hold on a second. No, wait. Oh, that's good whiskey.
Sorry. Are we drinking whiskey? What are we drinking anything? Is that what no, we're not doing. I'm not in the studio. I'm making this up, everybody. I'm not saying now. I'm saying that was coffee. I'm saying, anyway. And I just spilled a little bit on my keyboard. So if the record skip. Okay, anyway. That's a little old school. Sometimes you'd spill something on the record and it would just skip. Do you know what I'm talking about, D? Records? Do you know what a vinyl record looks like?
Yeah.
I see what you did there. Very good. But you have to admit it. Thanks, D. You have to admit it. It's the best possible scenario right now to get to the truth, to find out what happened, to hold people accountable that need to be held accountable so this never happens again. If you just dismiss it like it's too old a story and we're just putting it aside because it's yesterday's news, then it happens again. We have to make sure the people that did that are held accountable so it doesn't happen again, even to you lefties.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow. You sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I like a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council. Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, if you're looking to take advantage of today's pro-business environment and strengthen your financial future, certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group have got you covered. They specialize in advanced tax strategies, risk management, and retirement planning, all aimed at helping high net worth investors like you thrive. Now, Alfie wants to share those insights with you with his book, Keeping You on the Retirement Fairway. It's packed with practical tips and forward-thinking strategies to help you make the most out of your hard-earned wealth. Ready to get your free copy? Text BOOK to 239-747-7470. That's 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Learn how to capitalize on that pro-business opportunities that are out there right now and secure the confident retirement you deserve. Once again, text BOOK to 239-747-7470 right now, and let Alfie Townsend and Advantage Retirement Group help guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
All right, we put a bow on the show right now. That's what we call it, finishing up the program, trying to finish up strong. I don't know. I just stopped for a second there because I was thinking about something, and then I just realized it popped up on the feed a second ago, and so I'll get to that because I did mention two things. Number one, I mentioned ne'er-do-well. All right, D, you ready for this? Oh, what was that? I was listening to you. All right, ne'er-do-well is a contraction of the phrase never do well. It was first recorded in the 1730s or the 1740s, a ne'er-do-well. That means you never do well. All right. So
and what context did you use that in?
I said we're not going to have any of those ne'er-do-wells around here. These people like politicians that skirt around the Constitution and the rule of law. These ne'er-do-wells.
All right, I get it.
Okay, there you go. So never-do-wells. That's it. So never-do-wells. Are you ever going to use it? Ne'er-do-well? No.
I might try to sneak it in a future show.
No, you won't. Okay, please try. All right, so there's that. Governor DeSantis, interestingly enough, today was asked about Congressman Byron Donalds and President Trump's full endorsement of him if he were to run for governor in 2026.
Trump endorsed Byron Donalds in the 2026 governor's race. Do you also plan to endorse the congressman? And if not, who are you looking at and why?
You know, my view is Donald Trump just got into office. I want these congressmen focused on enacting his agenda. They haven't done very much yet. They're not putting his executive orders into place. We'll see what they do on the spending. But we have such a narrow majority that to be trying to campaign other places and missing these votes, I think is not something that's advisable at all.
So you're saying no endorsement? I guess that's, I'm assuming it doesn't sound like it's an endorsement in any way, shape, or form there of the congressman. So there's that. Although I think he did, or somebody asked him. Am I right about this? I think somebody asked about Casey DeSantis and whether or not she would be a good choice for governor. Oh, that is. Are you not hearing the audio very well? Okay, looks like the audio isn't playing very well. So forgive me. I thought it was, but apparently not. Yeah, I guess people have been. She's not angling for it, he said. But people have been asking, and I guess he was saying that she would do a fantastic job if she chose to do it to run. I guess. Okay, so that might be a reason why he wouldn't have a endorsement of Congressman Byron Donalds is because the suggestion that maybe Casey DeSantis might be in. I don't know. We're just going to watch it play out. How it's going to happen, I don't know. We're getting closer and closer to the moment to which somebody's going to have to decide whether they want to get off the sideline and in the game, so to speak, with regard to that. So we will see. But I thought it was interesting that somebody asked him about that. And it's clear that it's not getting giving an endorsement. What else did he say? Anything else before we go? Let me just see. What's this?
I think a lot of people.
No, we don't have enough time. I hear the music. Oh well, maybe what we'll do is we'll talk about this and play a little bit of this audio tomorrow. We can go over that and maybe even get your thoughts. That's a good idea too. All right. We will see you tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out with us today. My name is Drew Steele. This is Florida's Voice.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
No way. No way. No way.
No way. My kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org.
Hey, listen, thanks for joining us today on Florida's Voice. Always appreciate you stopping by, hanging out. Tell your friends if they want to watch at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. Anytime they want to listen, one of our great affiliates across the state of Florida, we appreciate them as well. And we'll see you tomorrow. My name is Drew Steele, and this is Florida's Voice.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.